Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to a Tuesday Crew game! We're finally back. Hello and welcome. Welcome to the first episode of Lancer. It's just business. Before we get on with tonight's broadcast, though, we have a few things to cover, and the first of which is some promotion of our own stuff. So, if you're new here, hello, we are the Component Cast. We create TTRPG shows, TTRPG music, something I'll get onto in a moment, TTRPG stuff, all the time, all the day. We have now 3 shows a week, sometimes, and that's the aim. We have, on paper, 3 shows a week. One D&D on Monday. We have this now appearing on Tuesdays, and on Wednesdays, after a 2-week hiatus, fingers crossed, we will have our Cyberpunk show as well back. So if you are a fan of TTRPGs, then this is the place to be. We also, as I alluded to, have a soundtrack out right now. You will see a promotion for that a little bit later in the show, as well as all the good things. But basically, we have a royalty-free soundtrack. It's on Spotify. It's on every streaming platform. It's 10 songs. You can use them in all your TTRPG games. And the best bit is it's royalty-free. You won't get pinged for copyright. You won't get done in by any of those greedy little monkeys trying to take your rights money. No, you can create all sorts of content with it, and we're not gonna do anything about it. It's on Snapchat if you make content there for some reason. It's on Instagram, it's on TikTok, it's on every platform. Just go and grab it. It'll put in the Elendor Chronicles live. Mikey, you have something to promote as well, correct?
Yes, so recently we've been starting to work on our backlog for our YouTube channel and also our Podbean podcast. So you can find the entirety of Elendor Season 1 and a few episodes of Elendor Season 2 now officially on Podbean. There's a link in the chat. Go follow the Podbean. You can find different channels for everything else. All of our backlog is also on there. So you can find the entirety of Zweihander and the entirety of Trakoga. You can find our YouTube channel uploading 2 videos a day of our backlog. So you can find us everywhere now.
Yes.
So check us out.
All of the backlog is finally getting worked through. And also, if you want and like what we do here, and you want to support us, there's 2 really good ways to do it. Becoming a Twitch sub, which allows you quietly to get some fun emotes in chat and join in on the live show there and join in our Twitch moderated live chats. And also by becoming patrons. Patrons get help us grow the biggest. We get the best cut of your money. It's the best way for you to support us. Plus, you get some stuff in return. We have all the sorts of behind the scenes stuff go up on our Patreon, freebies, like handouts, assets, all sorts of TTRPG stuff. Plus, right now, if you want, you can get high quality WAV files of all of our soundtrack as well by becoming a patron of any level, and a bibliographer plus. Very soon you will have the ability to download all of the scores to the music as well. So if you are a musician and you want to play songs from our soundtrack, you ultimately can. And finally, Roach, I haven't said this in a while. What are you playing?
Okay, that's a weird tone.
Wait. Yeah, what are you buying, stranger? That's what it was.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. What are you playing?
We're playing Lancer. It is a TTRPG made by Massive Press with an F. It's available in a lot of different places, and for the basic rules, it's free. You can just get it. It doesn't cost any money. Now, the main rule book with all of the lore and a couple of other things, that is actually for sale. It's currently selling for, if I remember, $25 as the PDF copy, which is a bargain for what you get. And that has just all the lore in it and great artwork we were talking about earlier. It's also not currently available physically, but I know they're trying to get a new print run going because it's a small company and they sold out of what they had after a while. So that might be coming back around, but you can definitely get it on their website at Massive Press. You can also get it at the Massive Press itch.io page, along with their other multitude of other cool games and expansions slash just different modules for Lancer itself, detailing different areas of the world. So go ahead and check it out. It's amazing.
Well, without further ado, oh, that was perfect timing. The music like properly dipped from a hype thing to like a lower bit. That was almost like we're mixing it live. Without further ado, let's not hold back.
Well, I know we're not.
No, I know exactly. Well, that they know of. It could be a double fun. Zoomies, it's been a while. It's been months since this group has played together. Let's start the very first show, shall we?
In the year... No, are we good? We good? Okay. Can't hear you, Mitch.
There was a slight audio issue. Go ahead. Start
Cool.
again from the top.
Start again from the top. Okay, so we start this game in the year 5016 U. And humanity stands triumphant. Triumphant against the Great Filter. More than 10,000 years ago, humanity did its level best to destroy itself, and very nearly did, as we are to do. Those scant 500,000 left behind began to rebuild civilization after the fall from the ashes. But the sins of humanity continued to follow it. Its aggression and need for conflict were never very far away. Wars, famine, or worse, still common. That was until the first vault was found deep underground, left behind by pre-fall humanity. The technology and history it held showed those survivors what they could be, for better or for worse. And the powers of that time fought for the knowledge and technology within. It could have been the start of another fall, the true end of humanity. But humanity surprised itself. Out of the conflict arose union. A nation like no other. Union requires no qualifiers. It is not the union or a union, for there are no others to compare. It is simply union. Since its creation on humanity's homeworld, the Cradle, 5,016 years ago, Union has been both savior and tyrant, a unifier to all and a specter of destruction as well. Its rulership has been as varied as humanity itself. Today it is ruled by the Third Committee, who came to power in the violent civil war that brought down the Second Committee 400 years ago. Aware of the pain and destruction its predecessors brought, Third Committee has left the outer frontiers of settled space to its own devices, to both focus on itself and to allow time to heal. While noble in its intentions, as it always is, the frontier has become a hotbed of conflict and exploitation. Interstellar corporations with the powers of nations, despots, and revolutionaries all flock to this region, all fleeing the oversight of Union. Humanity stands triumphant against the Great Filter, but it remains to be seen if it will stand triumphant against themselves. We come in onto a starscape. A shape in the darkness, deep black of interstellar space. And we focus on a ship that is that shape. Its large hull is only illuminated by the glow of its engine plumes and the running lights along its sides, while its mass and shape give it the unmistakable air of a warship. The livery that it is painted on, its hull, sorry, I had to scroll the page, looks as if it is more at home on a corporate transport ship. Gaudy, bright white and blue lines crisscross each other and are highlighted by sharp crimson. Large letters spell out along its sides, Avari, and stand proud and loud in the black of space. Past that is smaller script of black letters on one of the few plain sections of hull that reads, Reproach. The ship you have all been on for the past 2 years. For whatever reasons, personal or external, you all signed onto the Avari Military Solutions contract and took a combat deployment. The details were few and the prep for such a long trip was oddly minimal. And now the ship and the fleet that are around it are in their breaking phase of travel. Their sterns pointed proudly towards the star, and their engines flaring with the strain of trying to slow them down from their near-light journey. Inside of the ship, we come across tight corridors, small rooms, and the hustle and bustle of a ship awake. Crew no longer on its maintenance cycle, awake and out of deep sleep, getting everything together. Technicians and officers walk to and fro with a purpose. Maintenance teams are checking and rechecking systems. But in a small room off to the side of a nondescript corridor, among bunks that are a little too tightly packed to be comfortable, we focus on a single individual who was looking over their personal pad, catching up with what they've missed in their deep sleep. Red, could you describe your character for us, please?
So, Caitlyn is a light brown haired, glasses, usually always covered in oil or grease or other mechanical fluids. big glasses, big eyes, and whatever part of her bunk she can, there is little scraps of bright color and flowers that she's welded together. And yeah, she's sitting there catching up with the galaxy, figuring out what's going on, trying to clear our mind from cryo.
Yeah, it's been about a week since you came out of cryo, but it's been a hustle and bustle. The ship doesn't immediately get everyone out at the same time. That would be far too intensive, and everybody'd be walking around in a daze. So you were one of the first, but it's still been slowly everybody waking up. And as that's been happening, this bunk room is beginning more and more full, to the point now where it is a hot bunk room. You being one of the few people here who doesn't have an assignment on the ship. You were signed on for the maintenance crew of this carrier's through deck. But when you woke up, it was blank. Your assignment. It just gave you a room number and nothing else. And you've been finally able to get your login credentials from the onboard NHP who provided it to you, the non-human person who is like an AI that provides for the ship and its crew. So it's the first time you checked your actual emails, or the equivalent, for your company account, as you're not connected to the OmniNet that exists, as you're in between star systems. All you have is what was last available when you exited the jump gate about 22 months ago. And what you see is a very empty email box, except for 3 unread emails, all of which, but one, are very old. Would you like to investigate?
Yeah. I would like to investigate.
You check, you actually click on the inbox, and you see the first one, oddly enough, is a direct email from the NHP of the ship. But it's not directly addressed to you. It seems to have CC'd everybody, as far as you can tell, on board. At least you think so, as after a certain period of time, it just stops loading the names and has somewhere close to a few thousand it's reading out of individuals. And from what you could tell, it is a very thorough, incredibly detailed, very long email that details the maintenance and care of the ship's schedule from the point in which this ship left its dock to begin this journey to when it's supposed to arrive at the star system, down to the hour, for 2 years. There's no qualifiers or information aside from that. It's about 50 pages long as you scroll, and it has nothing else associated with it.
So it's just what the NHP is going to do, not necessarily what they found when they were doing it.
Yeah, it's a schedule. It's not even a report.
Skip.
Okay. The next email is from the NHP as well, and from what you can kind of work out, it was sent about 2 minutes after the first email, with the same exact CC, though this one just contains a very short message. Apologies to all who received the previous email due to an error inside of my routing systems. The previous email was sent in error.
Yeah, figured.
Yep. And it's just signed with the NHP's identifier, which you would know, since as you have been on the ship, at least you've been also, it's Clyde. Full name, as it has a begin as a first name and last name to the form fill email account system. It's Clyde BX-4. But as you go to the next email, you see it's different, thank God. Or thank the one. This one is sent from a anonymous source. It is a company email. It does have a company header, and this is an intranet. This is not an extranet or anything, so this couldn't possibly have been sent by a spam or scam account or anything. And when you open it, it contains a message and an attached file, and it reads the following. Hello. Congratulations, valued employee. Due to errors in the ship's cryogenic stasis systems in one of our sections during the trip from which you are currently contracted, there are now openings within the Lancer contingent for our ground forces. Due to your higher than average score in the Lancer training and evaluation reports, according to your file, you are now being offered a promotion to your contract for the duration of your combat deployment. As per your employee contract of which you signed for this deployment, there is no extra compensation or pay, and it has already been implemented. If you would like to discuss or counter or log a complaint about this, please contact the nearest company representative as soon as you are awake. The updated terms of your new contract are attached therein, as well as your new lodgings during your trip. And it just has no name at the bottom. It just says local ship company representative AMS Rep 4.
She reads the second part again. New lodgings. That might be. Ah.
Yeah, as you're
Wonder where the rep
huddled
is.
down in your bunk. And it
I'm
provides
gonna
an
see if I
address
have
in
an
the ship.
actual bed.
No, you check it. You are provided with a section number and a room number for the ship. Actually, we'll do a first roll here because nothing in your background states that you should be familiar with traveling aboard a ship, which is its own thing. Yes, rivals shaking their head, yes. I would like you to roll. How would we go about this? I'm trying to get... Since you're trying to search through this, you're trying to figure out kind of where everything is from your limited knowledge aboard the ship, because as stated, you basically only know the local mess hall where you were sleeping and where you're staying right now. I think you just roll. We're just gonna roll basic check here. It's just go ahead and roll a d20. It'll be a basic skill check, or just a general check. No bonuses or anything.
13.
13. Well, that's a success, because anything above a 10 is normally a success here. So what you find, you think it over for a bit and check out the map that's downloaded to your PDA, your pad, and kind of figure it out and know where you're generally going. It is on the opposite side of the ship and will take quite a bit. This is a full carrier, which is fairly large. This is not the largest ship in the fleet that is currently traveling in, but it is the second largest. So it'll take a bit, as well as the fact that the corridors are choked with crew members who actually have jobs and are currently doing them. It doesn't also help the fact that there was a combat drill, a combat readiness drill about an hour ago, and everybody's still kind of reshuffling to their current duties outside of their combat stations that they had to go to for the drill. So it's a little ways. So you gather your things up and you start moving in that direction as you kind of press through the throng of people. And then we move to another area of the ship. In the Lancer area, a section of lodgings and storage where all of the pilots for the ground complement are billeted aboard and given over to them. Near the other basic regular infantry and other support personnel for groundside operations and away from the crew so they don't get in the way. And it's a lot less busy to the outside eye. People aren't moving around as much. People aren't spending time going from one area to the other or checking things. But everybody seems to have something they're doing. Just more reserved. They have their own individual preps that they're going through. And kind of way in the back, a small room to the side, we see 6 pods along one bulkhead that read on the outside: Avari Military Solutions Combat Pod Simulation 2, Model 2. Only half of them are filled, and soon we hear a hiss as the hermetic seal opens, and someone steps out. Rival, can you describe your character for us, please?
Yep. My character's name is Harrison Martini, callsign Demon. About 5'10", brown hair, goatee, mustache. Fairly well built, but for a soldier is a bit stocky. Used to carrying heavy weights, meaning ammunition, weapons, things like that. Severe in his looks. Doesn't like people getting too close. But stepping out, kind of gets a lay of what's going on around him, then moves to get dressed.
Fine. Yeah, you were just in a combat simulation, kind of a free-form thing available to most Lancer pilots while they're not in freezer. And you've spent a lot of time running through this, just keeping yourself sharp during the trip. You were on rotation 2. From what you could tell, there was 2 rotations of individuals. They did 6 months in the freezer, 6 months awake to stave off the worst of cryo. So you've already been awake for about 5 months. So all of this has been just things getting more going than what they were previously. As with the crew, it was also the ground complement of whatever was here was also on a 2 rotation. So a wake sleep rotation. You've been doing okay. There hasn't been a training schedule per se. You haven't been assigned a unit yet. As far as you can tell, nobody has. The individuals that you've talked to, that doesn't seem to be odd to them. This is your first deployment with AMS. It is a bit different from previous ones. It's a different vibe. There's a company culture you get a sense of here. Do you think Demon spent a lot of time talking with other individuals?
From his past, I would say he's slow to trust in initially, especially with a corporate culture as opposed to a military that he's been from. With that, it's more of a brotherhood. With the corporate culture, it's more of a bottom line. People come, people go. There's not that chance to build a camaraderie.
Mm-hmm.
So he's a bit of a loner, but not through personality. It's more through choice until he finds a team he's happy with.
Right. So yeah, you're familiar with people that were on the same rotation as you, just because of generally having to cohabitate. These are slightly better than basic accommodations, but they're still shipboard accommodations. So instead of being 8 people in a room, it's 4. So you get like a half-foot extra square space in.
Yeah, foot locker and a half. Excellent.
Yeah, it's still pretty confined, but for you, that's pretty normal. Your background, the shipborne travel is a given requirement. This one is a bit longer of a stint than is normal. Between a jump gate and wherever you're going, you usually only have to go about a year in near light, if that. This is 2. So you only got the name of the place you were going. You never got a location in terms of where it is in human space, but you'd probably guess this is somewhere in the frontier. This is on the this is the outer ring of settled space. Just from the distance, you'd be hard pressed to find a place that is even this far from a gate anywhere else. But yeah, you've as you get dressed out of your kind of the suit that they want you to wear to connect into the trainer, as it has to link into you, and you have to, there's feedback to the brain and stuff to make it all work. And you're just in your basic kind of fatigues that are provided to you. And you step out, you just see what you've been seeing. There's more people are awake today than have previously been awake. There's a lot of people with rucks that are kind of looking at their pads and like looking up at a wall, trying to figure out which room they've got to go to. There's a main rec area that's probably originally some sort of storage room that has been converted into just like a general like space where you can just sit down and do whatever. And a few tables have been kind of made out of crates here and there. There's just people kind of sitting around. There's some people doing cards. Others are like rechecking and checking some things on their pads, or they're writing things to pass the time.
Do I have my mech?
Actually, that's something you haven't been able to get a clear answer on. You know where it's supposed to be stored. You've been given a bay number, but until recently, you haven't actually been allowed to go around the ship too much. Security measures and everything being the way it is, you're not a part of the crew, so they want you to they don't want you to get in the way. But there was an announcement this morning that due to the final rechecks of everything, that the maintenance bays, the through deck, are available to personnel who have business on them, regardless of their whether or not they're crew or part of the ground complement. So, however Demon wants to kind of work through that, if he thinks that applies to him, is up to you.
Demon wants to go work on his mech, make sure no one's messed with it while he's been asleep.
All right. So Demon wants to go and check out his mech.
Demon wants to go check his mech.
Cool. You have a bay number. And what you can kind of tell is that even though this is a carrier and it does carry a complement of fighter craft, it seems because it's being pressed into the role of a marine assault ship or some sort of like transport ship, a partial part of the through deck has been made into a maintenance area for the mechs themselves, at least from what you can get. So it's not too far from where you can go. The through deck is like a central feature of here goes one end of the ship to the other end of the ship, enter and exit. So kind of the whole center portion is just empty space for carrying and storing of fighter craft and various other things. So it's not hard to get to, and you're used to being on board ships just generally, so it works. And you follow the clearly laid out for the fact that there are maintenance crews that have to traverse this place all the time. You're in Bay 7, Section 2, so that's like in the rear of the ship on this side, and you go. And what you see is just a big crew. They seem to be working in unpacking things from cold storage. And it looks like they're doing that with mechs as well. So you can see there's pretty standard containers that are containing the mechs when transport, and they're being opened and then unloaded and put into their maintenance cradles, just because it's more secure to be in a box than it is to be on a cradle. And
is anyone using my mech?
Nobody seems to be in a mech, as far as you can tell. They're using like an overhead gantry to like latch these on and pull them out and then put them into a cradle. There's no like they're activating or anything, because that would require spinning up the reactors, and that's a hazard when they're not being used. But yeah, you see your cradle is not filled right now. Just give me a basic check.
3. Oh no, it's D12. I'm sorry. That was D12. Forget it. You're not having that. 11.
Okay, 11. That's good. Okay. After a minute, you do see your mech. It is currently attached to a gantry crane, and it is mid being moved. It's stopped. It's being held over like an area that is clearly marked as like a hold area on the deck. So nobody, it's like clear, like big black and yellow lines, and it's like keep clear in big letters and everything. But it's not being moved. It seems like that's there's most of the crew's doing something else at this point. What you can tell.
Hey, baby.
It just swings there slowly. Looks like they've been there for a bit.
See if I can find a foreman or something like that.
Foreman.
Deckhand who happens to be like, I don't know, specifically bright, maybe.
Cool.
Just find out.
Around, you see there's a lot of people in general basic uniforms. They seem to be, again, a carrier crew, so they're in bright colors that differentiate them based on their jobs. Generally, they're just could be pushed into different roles to work on this, because mech's pretty close to a fighter when it comes to unloading and loading and stowage. So that's easy enough. But you do see somebody that is not in that kind of garb and looks to be in some sort of maintenance coveralls, and seems to be in control, or at least is ordering people around a little bit. What she's about mid-size, about your size, honestly, given how tall you are. So you're about on her level. Very what's the word for it? Like tight ponytail, a flat cap being worn, dirty in some areas, but seems to be like very much commanding people. I'm not sure. I don't think you understand their rank structure. It is different than what you're used to in the Union military. But yeah, you see her, and she looks like she's somewhat in charge.
Okay. Making sure I'm not going to walk in front of anybody or anything like that, carrying massive equipment around and get splattered on the wall or something. I'm going to make my way over to her.
Especially since you're wearing fatigues, which are kind of supposed to obscure you slightly, so you're just trying to... Honestly, actually, you were probably provided with a high-vis belt that you have to wear whenever you're on the through deck.
Yeah, that doesn't really help sometimes if a person's not paying attention, trust me.
True. Everybody seems to be on the ball around this area, though, from what you can tell. But yeah, you walk up and you kind of get their attention, and she looks over, checks back what she's doing, and then looks back over. What?
You look like you're the only person around here who knows what's going on. Any idea when my mech is going to be put into its cradle?
When it needs to be. Why are you on my deck?
Want to work on my mech?
Gonna have to wait.
Any idea how long?
When it's ready. We got other shit to do.
Just asking a question.
Yeah. Turns back over to others, kind of just starts ignoring you.
I can be very annoying, you know that, right?
I know. You're also trying to accost a senior NCO, or part of a deck gang. So? It's kind of the one person that doesn't give a shit.
Well,
Chief Petty Officer doesn't give a shit if you're a lieutenant or not. They're gonna do it.
I don't even know what my rank is.
Exactly. See my last. Does Demon like go or just kind of like hang around?
I'll go. There's no point in antagonizing her.
Yeah. What you can see. Give me just a quick check. Just give me a D20 roll.
11.
Consistency. You're military. She's running a tight ship. Like she's not cruel, is what you're getting the sense. She's a pretty, like, you've seen NCOs. She definitely carries that air about her. Everybody is listening to her, but the crew is not like stepping on eggshells. So like they're joking and jovial and everything when they can be, and then when something like big is moving, when things are moving or something like that, everybody's paying attention. So that's kind of what you're getting. Which, however Demon feels about that.
That's respectable.
And as you go and you try and find something else to do while you wait, we go to a different section of the ship. Deep below deck, in a dark section of the boat, lie row upon row of cryo caskets, is what they're called. The coffin, the deep freeze. The crew have a lot of names for it. And we see one in a row that are all open has not been opened. It's by far not the only one. It seems maybe 1 in 6, 1 in 7 are still closed. Before we see a hiss as it starts to do the thaw process. And just a collection of individuals shuffle out onto the deck and get next to all the ones that are opening. It seems about half of what's left is being opened right now. And they start double checking vitals, making sure everybody's good and alive, or at least good. Make sure things aren't broken because they're not good. And then they also help people out of their cradles, their places where they've been asleep for probably about 6 months at this point. And this one crew helps out an individual. Mikey, would you describe your character for us, please?
Being pulled or pulling themselves out of the cryopod Not sure which one is more accurate.
They're trying. They're helping you out, is what's happening. Like,
yeah. So, 5'7" ish, fairly slim, male, with dark brown to pure blonde long hair. So it's probably, if you were to pull it down, it's probably about shoulder length, but the sides and back are very tight cut. No beard, no facial hair. If it wasn't for the fact that his hair stands out, you probably wouldn't take a second look at him. Dark hazel eyes. I assume he's wearing whatever they had to wear while in cryo, so some sort of anti-freezer burn suit or something.
Just basic scrubs that are made to just be disposable for the most part, that are like barely contact skin kind of thing. Is what you're wearing. There, as soon as you get out, you've got one person on there like kneeling down next to the machine and running through something that you're kind of not paying attention to. Another one's like shining a light in your eye back and forth, like checking.
Hey, Doc.
And looks down to a pad. Name?
Victor Haywood.
Okay. Good.
He gives his birthday and all that other stuff.
Yeah, you know where you are. Okay, good,
Yeah.
good. All right, you're good.
Thanks, Doc.
Your stuff's in your locker, down to the right, through the door. Try and not turn too quickly for the next 20 or 30 minutes. You've been through this. Just...
Got it. Thanks, Doc.
All right.
He walks
Need
away.
anything?
Don't-
Emergencies? Just key the NHP.
Get a cup of coffee. If that's possible.
Not on me. And they start going over and they start helping somebody else who doesn't seem to be going through it as easily. Some like younger woman who's just like just on her hands and knees, just like hyperventilating a little bit.
All right. And Victor will walk away and go grab his kit and get changed into some normal clothes.
Yeah, you've been through cryo before. It's pretty standard on any trip above a year, just to conserve resources on the boat. So you feel like shit.
Yeah.
Because it's like no matter what they do, it still feels like crap because your body's essentially been like basically dead for a year or for like half a year. So it's still kind of getting used to being alive again. So you're definitely having like a couple like double images here and there, and like your inner ear doesn't really work too well as it's still maybe thawing out a bit.
In the actual like I suppose defrost room would be a good phrase. Is there like a coffee machine or anything like that?
Actually, no, I'd say they don't provide coffee. There is like, just like when you're given like blood or something like that. So there's like juice, a couple of things that have like sugar and calories in it. So like some cookies or some like pre-packaged like, you know, like snack food kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
He picks up
some,
like a
and,
carton of apple juice.
and like
sips on
cold
that.
water if you want it as well into the little dispenser that you can get. So they just kind of provide that, just kind of get you going again.
Yeah, he picks up a thing of apple juice like while he's half dressed and just chugs it down, bins it, and gets dressed.
Yeah, you're not the only one here. They seem to have thought people out in the same groups. Like you're on a general rotation crew, so you're on rotation 1. So you were awake at the beginning of the trip. You'd be asleep at the end of the trip until right before you get awoke with the way things worked. But they thaw people out within those rotations in the same group. So you recognize a lot of people in this room right now. There's people who are shuffling.
He
There's
waves
a
at
couple
them.
people. Yeah, they're just waving back. And they're all getting ready. Some people are keep taking it a lot easier than others. Just generally, it's pretty. If you don't do well with this, you're never gonna do well with it.
Yeah.
Other people like you kind of get through it without too much trouble. Like it feels like shit, but you're fine. You know, a
There's
couple
someone
people
sitting down in the defrost room who he knows needs like an extra carton of juice, so he just hands him one as he
it's
walks
just like I
past.
got a migraine with the lights and stuff, and they're just like, give me an hour, I'm good. Just give me an hour.
Let the entire brain defrost and all the hydration start kicking in again.
Yeah, and they accommodate for it. The room has like lowish lighting, like it's a soft kind of blue, so it's not too bright, and it's to accommodate kind of the full spectrum. Yeah, but the one person who you know fairly well, just in terms of you've seen them quite a bit, because they're not in the same casket as you, but they have the locker right next to you. Is a man named James, who seems to actually like isn't bothered by this at all.
Right, James.
What you can tell.
How you doing?
Oh, hey Vic. Fine. I'm probably gonna go and do some Sims, or I don't know, go on a run or something once I get my pack all sorted out.
Might hit the range for an hour, then
That's good,
go,
yeah.
you know, get myself some grub. My
Yeah.
appetite always
Oh.
kicks in about an hour after the defrost. I'm not sure why.
Yeah. I don't know. Checks like his pad. Still got a long time before we get any of our assignments or the briefs, so we got some time.
Sounds good. I gotta go unpack my shit as well, so
Yeah, I'll see you around.
have a good one.
Yeah, and James is like this kind of the same thing as you, just a very nondescript person in general. But from what you can tell, from talking with him, he's a long time like an employee for AMS for a while. He's his second deployment, but it was a multi-year deployment previously. So you got pretty like he's shorter than you by quite a bit. He's about like 5'4", 5'3", something like that. But pretty nice guy just generally. And you also know his call sign is Echo.
Echo.
And he explained that to you because his name is James Jackson, JJ, and people just call him Echo because of that.
Cool. Yeah, so after that, Vic is going to do what he said. He's going to go, first of all, drop his stuff off at his bunk or wherever he's sleeping.
Yeah, they rotate you to different rooms whenever they've got like space, so you have to kind of find it again, but it's not too bad. You're kind of somewhat familiar with how this works, so
He leaves all his stuff there, and then he heads off to the range, like he said he was going to sort of liven himself up a bit, check his hand-eye, in case there's any underlying things he should talk to a doc about.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's pretty simple. It's kind of the same principle behind the mech sims. They just kind of hook you up to something, and you're just mentally going through the process of doing range time, because it's a ship. They're not going to have any live shooting going on. Yeah, it's a ship in space. That's very, very bad. So they didn't do that. You're just kind of running through some drills mentally, and you seem to be doing okay. Your score's about average what it is after a normal one. At least you're getting hungry, like you normally do after a while.
Yeah, so after he finishes up his hour of shooting, he heads down to the grub hall and goes to grab some food. Doesn't really say anything to anyone unless someone approaches him.
You got a couple of waves. You're like not the most impersonal person, so people have kind of like gotten to know you a little bit. You're still the new guy, so people
He also
are
stands out a
kinda-
bit because he's got the dyed hair and the band shirt.
Not as much as you think. Not as much as you think. These are mercs. They're not necessarily
True.
troops. So
True.
there's a couple of people who are a little bit more
Eccentric,
out there,
shall we say?
a little bit more eccentric. You definitely know the CO and XO of the combat section of the Lancer detachment are a little eccentric. A little eccentric. The XO definitely. You know them as Sophia Chang. Sophia Chang. She's kind of right hand of the XO. Very much kind of threw you off from what you're used to, given the fact that she's. I don't know if the setting would have a different name for it at this point, but very goth.
No, she's very alternative.
Yeah, very alternative, very goth, black hair with like red tips and just, black. And
We exchanged
leather
tips
and
about how to
accents.
keep our hair the right color for longer at one point.
You try. She much like the really old kind of compliment, are very standoffish towards rooks, from what you can tell. They don't really want to talk to you that much, past like official things. She was on your rotation, but yeah, she just kind of like, she has her own little crew that she talks with, seem to be all like the commanders of the combat groups. So, but yeah, so you don't stand out that much, and you sit down and start going to town on your ration.
Yeah.
As much as available down here in Dogville. It's not good, but it's not bad either. It's just
Food is food. He's used to it.
reprocessed. Yeah, it's reprocessed like protein for the most part. And you just kind of do that, watching everybody going about their day as you continue to.
While he's eating, he's going to pull out his pad and check it. See if there's anything.
There's the same 2 emails from the NHP that we went over previously.
He immediately deletes emails from the NHP without reading them. Doesn't even look.
yeah. Nope. Other than that, it's pretty empty. Other than a an email that's resending your combat deployment contract that you signed, as it's denoted by the personal company rep aboard the ship as a personal copy that you can store once you're reconnected with the OmniNet. Cool. And it just goes over the same thing. You're deployed for combat. You get time and a half plus half for any time you're in direct combat. Time and a half when you're in a combat zone. It's generally things
Usual
like
stuff.
that.
Yeah.
Usual stuff. There's one thing you haven't answered, which is whether or not you're in for the second chance program, which is when they get your genetic material to clone you if you die. But there's some funky things that happen with that. If you die, who owns your person? There's a lot of rumors around that, so you kind of just haven't checked that box yet.
That one's the one where he's like, you know what? The fine print on that doesn't quite work out. I'm just gonna not tick that yet.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Other than that, it's pretty standard for the most part. Nothing else jumps out too much. There's a weird clause in that combat deployment contract that if you get promoted out of losses or company negligence, they are not required to give you the compensation of that new position, that's not going to happen to anybody, because that'd be weird. Something like that happened. But yeah, just go through that, check things, the pre-stored things like on an airplane flight of just like pre-downloaded like dramas and shows and stuff like that.
Puts his headphones on and throws on some music.
Start going through that. And while we pull away from our friend from Reaper, who's just kind of chilling in the mess, we move to a different section, not too far from where we currently are, in a room that is empty but for a single individual who is unpacking and storing gear, but seemingly the rest of the room has not been occupied yet. Blake, would you describe your character for us, please?
Sure. Oleg stands at just over 6 foot tall, clearly middle-aged. Like, this guy is seeing, if not the better part of his 40s, then he's getting into his 40s. Streaks of gray mixed into the black, swaths of hair that are cuffed over that. Not quite balding yet, but there's some of that is definitely starting to thin. A very thick beard that doesn't quite connect to the stubbiness of his mustache. And he's just kind of minding his own business. At the moment, he's wearing no uniform at all, just a black tank top and some very loose shorts that, as he's kind of stepping back and forth, the size of his back, this guy's built like a bloated barrel. Shoulders kind of wide. He's got somewhat of a pot belly. Like, clearly this guy enjoys a little too much of his drink, a little too much of his vices. And he's just kind of humming to himself. There's unpacking things, putting them somewhere, kind of thinking for a second, taking them out of what he's doing, moving it somewhere else. Like he just can't seem to make up his mind on what he wants to put where.
Yeah. It also doesn't seem to help that nobody's been assigned to your room other than you right now, or at least they haven't shown up. There's going to be a defrost happening, or should either already happening or will happen very soon, from what you remember. So it's understandable. Oleg's a little tepid about where specifically you want that bunk. None of them are great options for somebody his size, but do you want the upper bunk where you don't have to like crawl down, or you want the lower bunk where it's easier to get in and out? Both are bad. But yeah, you've been awake for about a day and a half at this point. You're kind of late in the rotation defrost cycle. Definitely, this is your first time with AMS, but it's not unfamiliar how everything works here. Culture's different. What you see, a lot of people talking about combat pay and like deployment bonus, and
he is familiar with these things.
Yeah, but nothing super out of the ordinary for you. Other than unpacking and trying to figure out a spot, what do you think Oleg would be thinking about right now?
I imagine after just giving up and picking a bunk, just not caring, he'd probably sit down, bring out a pad, and just start scrolling through it, assuming like there's a local news for the ship of just things going on.
It's a little less than like that. It is the the itinerary of the ship every day. There's a couple of things that are like not direct like work related here and there, but it's pretty limited on that sense. It's usually like, it's so and so's birthday today, etc. It's or we've got a couple of weeks ago there was a unification celebration for one of the Union states, and so they were having a special meal for the crew mess that you could get into. And stuff like that. Nothing too big, and then just everything else is just notifications about things like maintenance is ongoing and rear engine section, certain quarters will be inaccessible, plan accordingly, etc. Things like that. And just a lot of things keeping up to date from the NHP aboard, whom you're familiar with. Clyde is a very talkative one from your experience.
Oleg is nothing if not polite to people who love talking to him. He is very much a people person. So even if the AI just wants to have a chat, he's far too polite to turn him away.
Yeah. Oleg is aware that the NHP is while personable, is also a consciousness above humanity by an order of magnitude. Therefore, if you're talking to him, he's also probably talking to 10 other people at the same time or more, and doing everything else to run the ship.
But that's fine. He's still civil.
Yeah. But yeah, no. So the news, or at least the itinerary on the ship, is pretty normal. Nothing's out of the ordinary from what you see. There was one thing about the opening of access to the rest of the ship for non-crew personnel for the purposes of business, that kind of thing. And a countdown to the next sync to the OmniNet, which will happen when you fully get in system to where you're going, and you're within range of the OmniNet transponder in the star system, as you are still out of it. So basically you just have the last bit of information from 2 years ago, as your last news bit. 2 years ago for you are aware that near light travel is time dilated.
Yes.
So while it's 2 years for you, externally, it has been 20 years. It's a 10 to 1 ratio of dilation at near light. So you've spent 20 years traveling to everyone else, even though it's only been, to you, it's only been about a year and a half-ish since that's the only time you've been awake, or a year. So, but yeah, just kind of all not a lot else going on. You think Oleg had spent a lot of time talking to other people or being personable with others?
Yes. Oleg, during the times that he would have been awake, would very much frequent areas of popularity and basically the carousal spaces, the mess hall. If there's any ship-based bars where people would be able to go and get a drink when they were on leave or off work, anywhere where he could meet people and just enjoy himself is very much is basically where he would frequent as frequently as possible.
Yeah. No, and there's a lot of those set up. Technically, there's only the official mess hall section that has been assigned to the Lancers, but they're Lancers, so they have a commandeered storage rooms and other things for the purposes of recreation and just having spaces that aren't just for sleeping. So those pop up unofficially all the time, and the ship's crew doesn't really give you any crap for it, because what are they going to do? They can't really stop you. So yeah, no, you've known quite a few individuals, and one of those individuals that you've met before, who's on your same rotation but is a different thaw group than you, steps in. Her name's Ava. Just Ava Wright. She's kind of. Hold on, I missed. Scroll up. Nope, sorry, I was wrong. Sarah Evans, whom you've spoken to before. She's a vet of this kind of company. This is her third deployment. She's been trying to keep you in the loop of how things work for a Rook quite a bit, but you can see she's an individual that doesn't take to cryo that well. So she's a little woozy as she comes in, but she's carrying her ruck, so you think she's been assigned to your room.
Then, as he's kind of finishing up, he's like, "Oh, hello! Morning! Or is it evening? Hard to tell with the lights always on."
Ow. Stop.
Have you been drinking already?
No.
Is it a little early for that, or is it not early at all? Do you have a watch?
No, I have the pad. there's a.
Oh yeah, can you reach over and check the pad again?
More time. Yeah, it's midday. It's midday ship time.
Midday. No. Split the difference. Oh well. Lunch?
I don't feel like eating right now, Oleg. I just want to get things down here and to sit. Is there no one else in this room?
Nope, there's just been me all day.
Well, that's nice.
You know what? You do look like you need a moment. You sit here, make yourself comfortable. I will bring you back a sandwich.
Okay, yeah, actually, yeah, that would be nice.
Sorry. He'll pat her on the shoulder. He'll just exit the room.
Right as you leave, you hear her calling from like the bed. Obviously, she's leaned back inside of the bung. You just hear, "Clyde, lower the light level 20%." Just like goes down.
Must not be able to handle her liquor. Oh well.
Well, yeah, you leave, and it's not too far to the mess. From where it's pretty centrally located in Dogsville, which is kind of the name everybody's given to the Lancer area of the ship. And just other individuals shuffling around, getting what they can. There are specific meal times, but just because of the way that thawing works, there's a lot of like cold sandwiches and things kind of set aside. Just like, oh, do you need food to live after being asleep for half a year? This is available to you right now if you need it, like kind of thing. So if you just want to pick up like a cold cut or something like that, that's totally viable. It's like it's the stereotypical wrapped in plastic, cling film kind of thing.
Yeah, he will grab one, kind of wait for a second, nod his head, then pick up a second one because he did promise to grab someone for someone else, and then just kind of look around, scanning for any tables that aren't full, but people who seem like they're having a good time.
There's a couple, from what you've seen. Well, not artful. I'd say not really. There's a lot of clicks. That's what you're getting from this kind of situation, from what you've been feeling. Individuals who know each other just continue to know each other, and they kind of congregate around each other. So you see a couple of loners that are scattered around, very almost high school-esque clique kind of cultures. Like if you're not in an in group, you're kind of just relegated to the other kind of group. And so you see a couple that have like the tables are multiple people, but they're not talking to each other, or if they are, that's kind of like perfunctory kind of, just it's like, how was your day? Okay, yeah. Name, etc., etc. Like nothing's too big from what you can say. So you do actually just give me a general narrative check. I just want to.
Sure.
19. Okay, yeah. Oh, cool. Without too much issue, especially because Oleg's a personable person and likes to be nice and everything. You see a person who looks kind of out of place here, because Lancers have an air to themselves. They're pilots. they're fighter pilots essentially in terms of their mindset. They're better than everyone else, and they know it. So they carry themselves differently. They're supposed to be here because they're here. There's a woman, kind of a smallish woman, who's wearing coveralls, and has a ruck and a pad, and looks to be confused. Like they were going somewhere, and now they've ended up in the mess hall, and they don't know where. They made a wrong turn.
A lost duckling is absolutely something that Oleg be like, oh no, he will step over, and as he just kind of shuffles over his sandwich, just literally a sandwich in hand, he's like, you seem lost. Can Oleg help you?
I am lost.
this is your
Oleg can help me.
Okay. Where are we going?
I've just been promoted to being a lancer, and I've absolutely no idea where the bunk rooms are, and I just want a whole locker to myself, so I'm really excited about it. I'm supposed to go to a ... that I can't remember.
A ... I'm not familiar with this, but it's all kind of
hold it up to Oleg. Oleg recognizes it. It's your room.
Oh, this is not ... This is a numbers. Yes, no, I know where this is. This is easy to find. I just came from there. In fact, I'm going to deliver a friend of mine a sandwich.
Can I follow?
Sure, more the merrier. Have you also been drinking?
Surprisingly, no. I'm just always like this.
Okay, it'll be fine then. It'll be fine then. I think she is recovering. I need to be quiet a little bit.
Oh, was she in cryo?
She may have... Maybe, yes? I just thought it was a hangover.
They look similar.
That would explain why I have not seen her for a while.
Probably cryo then, Oleg. Oh, I'll follow you. Do you want me to help you carry anything?
No, but did you also want a sandwich? They have cold cuts.
Oh, I've been up for a while, so I had breakfast. I'll come back for some lunch later.
Okay. And Oleg will lead her back to the bunk.
And Brad, I get used to calling you all by your character names. Damn it. Get back into that. Caitlyn, you follow and arrive in it's actually really nice compared to where you were previously. The room you were in had 8 bunks, but slept 16 because you were hot bunking. So this room this is 4 bunks and has individual lockers and even a small little desk area for personal use. Not per person, but just generally for the room, which is still a luxury you have not seen since you boarded this ship.
It's so big.
If you say so. I think the beds are a little short, personally, but he will step over and he won't say a word to Sarah. He will just set the sandwich like on the side of their bed and be like, "For your lunch," and then he will back away.
Hi, I'm new. I'm just gonna drop my stuff and I'll leave you alone.
She opens one of her eyes, and it's like kind of like half bloodshot, like a little bit.
Oh yeah, you were in cryo.
It doesn't get better. It's okay. I'll be fine.
I always feel better after a good nap.
I'm Caitlyn. We'll do proper introductions once you're feeling a bit.
Hold on. No, yeah. Sarah kind of wills herself, just being like a nice, trying to be like a nice person who's experienced, leans up and hello, Sarah, welcome, Caitlyn. I haven't noticed you before. Are you in the opposite rotation group?
No, I've just been promoted because I think some people died.
Makes sense. It happens. It happens. Okay. So you're
Yes.
not only new, like Oleg knew, you're new.
Oh, I am the greenest of green.
Oh. Okay. Well, you got the job, so that means you must be somewhat qualified for it.
I'm a good tinkerer. I know how the mechs work.
Right. Okay.
Mm.
Good. That's good. That's real good. If you got any questions about things, just ask me. I know how things kind of work around here. Normally, I'm a lot better at this. Because normally I'm awake when I have to do this. Just go ahead and ask anything when it comes up. There's... if you need to go through training, if you need to do any like sims or freshening up on anything, I'm sure Oleg can bring you to it. Just it's free for anybody to use as long.
Yeah, that's actually probably the best idea for me. So, yeah,
Great.
Oleg, if you could show me to the sim pods, then that's where I'll be until.
Oleg is probably like 4 bites into a sandwich. Was like,
No, finish your sandwich. I can wait. I've got to hit the head anyway.
he'll nod his head a few times. Continue chewing his food.
Oh. And yeah, as everybody is awake, going about their day. Mikey, or I guess I should say Victor.
Yes.
I'll get it, I swear.
We'll get there eventually. It's all new because, it's been half a year.
Yeah, we need to change your names on Discord or something. Well, that's not even gonna work. Either way.
That you don't want to do that. Don't
I just
do
saw
that.
Midge's
Yeah,
face
don't do
just
it.
go, no.
I have awoken! What dost thou want to do to my street? No, for those examples, it would ruin the stream setup. Don't do that.
Yeah,
Please don't do it.
We start playing musical chairs with the cameras.
Yeah, we're not going to do that right now, or in the future. I just need to get used to it. But either way, so Victor, yeah, you finish off your kind of like your thaw routine and head over to your bunk.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're bunked up, surprisingly enough, right next to Echo. Just kind of with another 2 individuals
Is
you don't
Echo
really know
there,
that much.
or-
Yeah, you notice Echo is there. They seem to be going over like some sort of like schematic on their pad. You could say, yeah, you probably recognize it as some sort of mech frame.
Right. Cool.
And he
I
looks
sit
up.
down at my bunk.
Yeah, you're just across from. Yeah. Hey.
What are you
Well-
looking at?
Well, my last deployment, I was able to snag a license level, so I'm trying to see what's kind of available for me. See if I
Ooh.
can requisition some printer time, get something new rolled out.
What are you thinking?
Right now, I'm not sure. Could be. There's a lot of choices. Right now, I'm kind of. All my licenses are with. Well, all my license levels are currently attached with the IPSN.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I'm thinking about shifting over to SSC. Armory also kind of looks cool, but it's a lot of maintenance on some of those, and I don't want to deal with that.
That's fair. I can understand that.
You're just on an Everest, right?
I'm still on an Everest, yeah. I haven't had a chance to get out there really and earn any sort of
Right.
upgrades or license levels or anything really, but I'm happy enough with it. It does the job, and
Get some deployments under your belt, and you'll be fine. Pretty sure.
yeah,
You'll be
yeah.
good.
It'll be your thing. I'll get there.
Yeah, no, you're good. I think we're due for a briefing in like, I don't know if it's today or tomorrow, but if everything goes the way it normally goes, and it should with Bison in command like he normally is, we'll get all of our deployment orders and assignments and everything then. So then you can kind of work out what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, I still haven't got my any sort of assignment back yet. I don't even know where I'm going.
You won't. Well, they don't do that until everybody's out. Things can go wrong with cryo, so they don't want to have a set team and then have vacancies, so they kind of work it out.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So yeah, don't worry about it. It'll happen. Just it's not a lot you can do about it, but just when it does come about, just avoid anybody from Hammer Group.
Hammer Group, huh? Who's that?
Well, you didn't hear it from me, but kind of the fuck-ups. Whoever they put in there are the people that they don't want anywhere else.
Oh, I'm 100% being assigned to that.
You don't want to be.
It's gonna happen. I'm telling you right now, Echo. I put credits on it, but I'm not that loaded.
No. Well, I'm just saying, if it doesn't happen, just try to avoid them. They're usually people you'll want to avoid. They got some luck with them, if you believe in that sort of thing. It's either bad luck or they get assigned really shit details, and both are true. And to me, let's just say I've never met anybody that got assigned Hammer in a previous deployment. So however that,
well, shit.
if you want to read into that.
That really feels fucking suck.
Yeah. So don't worry. New guys, they usually just put in one of the mid-level groups, and you'll just be assigned like a handler or like a guide, and they'll just
that works
work
for
through
me.
that.
I've done some mech work before. I'm not really used to working in big teams, but that'll be a learning experience for me too.
Well, if you're on my team, I'll help you however I can.
Thanks for the assist.
At this point, I might actually get command. We'll see.
I hope so.
Okay. Well, they keep assigning me the same people every time, and our commander retired last time, so it's between me and my friend Sarah. So
Sarah? I think I ran into her. Is she rotation?
She's on our rotation, yeah.
Yeah.
No, she is tall. Like, she's really tall. Usually looks dead after coming out of cryo.
Is she the woman who fell out of the pod near me who would look like she's about to die?
Yeah, you're probably, if you kind of think back to that, that definitely tracks. Definitely tracks. She was like how can I belong? And the doctors were like, just breathe through it. You're okay. Like,
yeah, she was in like, she's in like 2 or 3 pods down from me. I saw her get out, and
that sounds.
It's always nasty seeing her get out of that pod.
Yeah, it's fine. Well, it's fine. She'll be fine. Usually, she just needs to be left alone and in a quiet place for a protracted period of time. She'll be fine.
She'll be fine.
Yeah.
I'm pretty happy with my mech. Pretty happy with what I got going for it.
That's good.
Looking forward to using
They should be unloading them right around now. I think we might get time to go check them out and do a cursory overview of them before we get briefed, but sometimes it doesn't happen. It just happens after the brief. So they'll usually get an email.
That's fine.
Clyde will just email you when it's available. So.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's gonna be an interesting deployment, I think.
There's a lot of rumors going around.
Good, bad, neutral.
It's a lot of rumors. You know what happens when people have a lot of spare time on their hands and not a lot of information. I've heard
There's
everything.
usually 1 or 3 things from what I found. They spend a lot of time in their bunks doing various things. They spend a lot of time spreading rumors, or they spend a lot of time being bored.
The last 2 are not mutually exclusive. I've heard we're pretty far out in the sticks, which makes sense from how long we've traveled.
Yeah, sounds right.
Some people are saying it's going to be a milk run, as we're so far out here. We're just going to be going in and then immediately going back, hoping for kind of a quick and easy. Other people are saying it's going to be a pretty bad one because they were one of the last to board and they saw a shitload of AMS ships. So that's a full task force, and I don't know. That says to me that they're expecting something.
That or they're looking to like occupy the space. Maybe there's something they want.
Maybe. That's the other thing I heard is that there's another corpro who hired our corp to do something dirty for him out here. That's like no concrete on that. So I just kind of, honestly, I just
wouldn't surprise me from what I understand.
I just tune it out. AMS has been okay to me, so I ain't gonna pry too much.
Fair.
Yeah,
that was kind of my
plan.
job, so I get it.
Yeah. And things kind of just quiet down from at that point. You know, the conversation dies out a little bit. He goes back to his pad. Your two other bunkmates come in. You're somewhat familiar with them, but not directly. Echo introduces you and everything. So they're kind of trying to. You get the sense that he's trying to give you a little leg up when it comes to whenever you're assigned a team. So it's not totally like, it's the greenhorn. So like, just give you as much of a chance as possible.
Reaper,
you get a sense that Echoes.
Reaper definitely like tries to ingratiate himself a bit. Like he maybe tells them like about one of his last deployments outside of AMS. You know, like a job that went particularly well or something.
Yeah, when you're time with Union. So surprisingly enough, not unsurprisingly enough, quite a few individuals are just vets that are just doing this as, they're going into the private sector because
pays benefits.
Yeah. So why
Most
not?
Of the time.
Yeah. But there's quite a few that aren't. They're just individuals that were particularly well suited to being lancers, and they were kind of scooped up in that. But yeah, things kind of that goes on for a while.
Cool. Yeah, he's more than happy to talk with the people. Chill out.
Yeah. As time kind of goes forward, it's a better part of a day. Of just all of this happening about 2 hours after the last thaw group. Another thaw groups gets sent out. And from what you're used to from the times this happened before, all you kind of know that's probably the last group, unless there's a couple like miscellaneous that had some issues getting unthawed, and if that's the case, then they might be stuck for, a couple more days as the med techs kind of run through a couple of things before they unfreeze them. But, that's just the way things go. Harrison.
Yes?
So after you're kind of... For the rest of the day, what do you think Demon's doing?
If there's a gym he's working out, there's a firing range, he's going to be shooting off some rounds, getting some practice in. It's basically all he does is physically train and practice his marksmanship.
Yeah.
That's been his life, so until like lunchtime or something comes around, that's all he's going to do, because there's nothing else he can do at the moment.
Yeah. And you do that. There's ranges that are a bit more easy to get into than the training pods. They're open to everybody, but there is kind of an informal, like, sign your name in on this form here, and we'll just kind of like, when your time comes up and kind of thing. We'll just like, there's not enough pods for everybody. Everybody wants to get some time in kind of thing. But the shooting range, the range is a little bit more open, and there's not really that for that. So you can kind of get some time in. And there is a small gym, impromptu gym. So there's a couple of like free weights and various other things, but nothing like, again, it's a repurposed storage closet essentially, or like a storage room that's been made into it. But when you're working, you're doing all of this, it's somewhat hard to not just overhear things. Even if you're in the zone, brain just kind of focuses on other things. You still hear. And you hear a lot of talk going on around you. Everybody's kind of used to your existence in general. They know that unless you're talking to them, that they talking at them, then it's really not worth it to like strike up a conversation with you most of the time. You're not. It's not that you're mean or anything like that. It's just that you're very like focused as a person. So they just kind of talk amongst themselves. And the gym is where you kind of hear two individuals just talking. They're younger than you, but they definitely another one of those vibe differences. They wouldn't necessarily be somebody you're used to working with. They're like mid-20s ish, like biologically mid-20s ish, and very very colorful. One of them's got like dyed blue hair. The other one's got some piercings and stuff, but they're very, I mean, they're physically capable. They're like keeping, like, if they were right alongside you, it looks like they'd keep up fine with what they're doing. They're just talking amongst themselves about the things they're hearing about what's going on, and then deployment stuff. Do you listen in?
Of course.
Okay. It's a small room. And you hear one of them, kind of the slightly taller woman who's kind of spotting for this guy, talking about, see, now what I heard is I got a friend who's in intel for the ship, so kind of struck it up and been talking. Now they're saying that all the ships in the fleet are doing combat prep. So I think it's going to be big. And the guy's just going like, I don't know. We're 2 years out from a gate. What could be out here worth fighting over? It's just, some little tin pot dictator wants us to take back some little rock out here. And the woman's just shaking her head a little bit and just going like, I'm telling you, I don't think so. And it kind of goes along those lines a little bit, and then they start talking about like, what's your combat time to get some vacation, and like, oh, how many days you got on your contract, kind of thing. Like then it's just going back into the company stuff that it doesn't really interest you that much. After Demon hears that, what does he do? Continue on with his day, or does he do anything about it?
From my time over the last 5 months of kind of doing my thing, have I made any contacts?
Within the ship's crew?
Within the ship's crew, maybe the intel community or operations or anything like that?
Just go ahead and let me just check something here. I'd say you could probably do like a roll with the trigger, read a situation, and roll and see if you got something. Which gives you a +2 on the roll. You can press the like little die thing on that trigger in your narrative tab, and it'll bring up a roller, and that should automatically apply everything.
Okay.
Well, looks like you already rolled it.
Have I?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Sorry. I didn't realize I'd done that.
Yeah, it's pretty automated.
I got an 18.
Cool. So, yeah, you have been a little bit. It's hard to get in contact with people, like, just in general, like, as a non-work related thing, but you kind of focus a bit on trying to get to know some people for intel reasons, or at least for reasons other than trying to like be friendly, and that's a bit easier for you. And you got some contacts within the security detachment aboard the ship. There's like the onboard actual Marines who are a part of here, who just guard like sensitive areas and various different things. They don't usually come down to Dogsville that much, but they are nearby just to make sure anybody who's drunk or something like that isn't like wandering into areas they shouldn't be. So you've got chances to talk with a couple of them, and there's a few that you'd consider on good terms with.
Okay, I go, it's like dry myself off, stretch, nonchalantly leave the room, going to find one of the people that I'm on good terms with.
Right. Yeah, no, there's this guy, it's a Lance Corporal named Douglas, who you've met a few times. You kind of bonded over a couple of things. His father was in not the same unit, but in kind of the same over unit, not your specific one. So like, you know, just, and so they kind of, you got to talking a little bit about that, and that kind of broke the ice. And if you look at, if you look for him and you use your pad, you're able to like get in contact because there's a comm system within the ship that kind of links into it. Yeah, he's off right now, and was just kind of hanging out, like external. So you know, if you want to talk with him, he invites you to just like, you got the go ahead to meet him like in a crew like rec area.
Yeah, I'll go meet him
in the ship. Yeah. And you find him. He's in his downtime kind of gear. He's not in his uniform or anything like that. And it looks like he's currently. You think when you reached out to him, he was watching something on his pad because he's kind of like he's in like a comfortable chair kind of thing. Like it could like a couch but sectioned off for a single person kind of like feel to it. And he's got a pad that's kind of off to the side. Just like kind of motions towards you and like points to a chair that's like nearby as well.
Douglas, how's things?
Quiet. Well, loud and busy, but quiet for what I gotta do.
No trouble, just lots of extra bodies around.
Yeah. Nobody does really much anything. We're in dark. We're in the black right now. What are they gonna do?
Yeah. I've heard some scuttlebutt if you're interested.
Well, I hear a lot of things. I'd like to see what they say down there.
Well, down in Dogsville, apparently every company ship in the region's prepping for major operations.
I've heard a couple of things from people in comms. There's a lot of ships in the fleet, and they're kind of running through combat drills like we are.
There's nothing out here.
Where we're going, that's the place we're going. So there's something out there.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. I don't know. That's above my pay grade.
Yeah.
I've heard things. You got a lot of stuff on your hands. What I hear.
Oh, great. It helps when they actually tell you what you find before you get there, though.
Do they have that in your contract or something?
It's probably buried under some kind of red tape.
That sounds about right. No.
Anyway, you need anything?
No, we got a lot more access to things out here than you have down there.
Yeah, true.
So, yeah.
But you always got to
offer. You ever need a real gym?
You have a real gym?
Yeah.
You think you can slice me an access code?
Yeah, in fact, goes to his pad. Thanks. He does, like he goes in and he starts going, probably should be able to as like a guest account or something like that. And then you see like a red X going on there, or not. Okay. So,
Yeah, fair enough. Worth a try.
Give it like a day or something like that. I don't think they've opened the ship fully for non-crew, so maybe after that I can get you in kind of as a like word of mouth thing. You're cool, so you'll be fine.
Appreciate it, bud. Anyway, don't watch TV all day. I'll make your eyes go square.
And you leave them. Okay. That's good. Just double checking. When is our break? I'm so out of touch with
10
our
minutes
normal.
ago.
10 minutes ago? Okay, let's do our break then, and we'll start with the next bit.
Hey, come here a minute. Do you need royalty-free music for your TTRPG content whether that be a YouTube video, stream, TikTok, Instagram post, don't worry, we've got you covered. My name's Alex, I've been a content creator for almost a decade now, and I've teamed up with my good friend Harry to produce 10 royalty-free songs for you to use in your content completely for free. We've tried to make a whole range of motifs with this album, covering happy music to sad music, to mystery music to combat music. And if this takes off, you know what? We might even make some more. So give the Elendor Chronicles soundtrack Volume 1 a shot. It's free to stream everywhere. And if you want the high quality downloads, you can come over to our Patreon and download them, or you can contact me directly at tabletop@themidgemansworld.co.uk as a creator, and I'll just give it to you for free. That's it, there's no catch. And just to prove it, we've also given you guys a user license agreement to prove that you have the complete perpetual rights to use this content. So enjoy, and good luck on your next adventure. Oh, good day. I'm Martin Sanderson, and I'm the CEO of Avari Military Solutions. We here at Avari know that it doesn't take much to cause problems out on the frontier, whether that be from local pirate raids, neighboring interstellar powers, or even just an unhappy populace with unreasonable demands. Just what is a small to mid-sized regional power to do when faced with these problems? You look to Avari for your solutions. With open-ended contracts, well-trained personnel, state-of-the-art aerospace forces, and competitive rates, we stand ready to help find the right solution to your problem. So if you have a problem, why not call Avari for your solution? Our operators are waiting to take your call, and consultations are free of charge.
Avari Military Solutions, a solution for your problem.
Avari Military Solutions is not licensed to operate within the Kark and Dre Baronies, the Andes Corps, or any Class A combat zones. AMS is a subsidiary of Omni Radiance Holdings, a family company.
When is a story more than a story? When a tale is more than words on paper? When is an ad more than the script it's written on? In the darkest and deepest annals of our own history, worlds of wonder and splendor burst through like a blister made of hope on the brain that's wrestled and riddled with madness. A radiant pustule. Writing, art, that's storytelling. That is the true lust of life. You too can dutifully indulge in art. Like fans of the greats. Shakespeare, King, Tolkien, Seuss, Mercer. You too can indulge through Twitch Prime. Get an extended access to a wealth of knowledge with a simple click, an emotion so small that it could endlessly amount possibilities. Embrace those feelings. Support art. Support the component cast.
And we're back.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm used to. Yeah, we're good.
We're here.
It's been a while.
We're
Cool.
live.
We're live. We are live. So, jumping off from where we were previously, as our friend Harrison Demon got that little bit of information from his friend on the security staff of the ship they're on. The day continues forward. The general hubbubaloo of everybody waking up, getting settled in, a whole bunch of people having not a lot to do for a period of time, and being somewhat military adjacent in their profession. Never a good thing. So people are just trying to keep out of trouble, or at least trying to keep out of being found out when they are getting in trouble. Until you all receive a message close to end of day, just a couple hours before general lights out, with a itinerary. It's from the AI, or from the NHP of the ship, and it's a Lancer itinerary pre-deployment, and you all get a copy of it, the exact same one. It's all CC'd to everybody. It's all.
Do I recognize any of the names in the CC? Have I met these people before?
I mean, a decent amount. This is a fairly large, from what you can see, a fairly large complement of Lancers assigned to this mission. About close to maybe possibly a battalion's worth. Now that's
shit.
But keep in mind, we're talking about armored battalions, so it's 3 vehicles per troop, and then 3 troops, 3 or 4 troops makes up a company, and then it kind of works out from that. So we're talking maybe 100 on the outset total, but that's including some support personnel that don't have anything, don't have any frames. So it's a fairly big unit, though. Not unheard of, but it's fairly big. Which makes sense. AMS is not a small organization by any measure. But you see it's a couple of names that make some sense to you. The rotation's about 50-50 per rotation, but you never had enough time to really get to know everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But from what you can see here, early next morning, there's going to be a all-hands meeting with the CO of the ground complement, who's going to, it's listed as a assignment and mission brief. And then after that, there's a lot of amount of time for people to kind of get to know, it's just a free time, or non-structured time. And you assume that probably means you're being allowed to talk to the people you're assigned to. Yes, Red.
Does it say the CO's name on the email?
Yes. It says it'll say meeting hosted by, and then it lists their name. And their name is full name is Colonel, or it's abbreviated Company Colonel Xavier Bryson. Bryson is Bravo Romeo Yankee Sierra Oscar November. Yep. You've never met them. Actually, none of you have met them. They're not technically a Lancer. They're the CO of the ground complement, which includes the mechanized part of whatever's going where you're going. So you assume they're somewhere else, as everybody you've met is strictly Lancers in Dogsville. But yeah, there's some unstructured time after that, and then there's maintenance and various other time, it's allotted to go over equipment checks and everything. And you can get a sense from the way it's listing everything down. You have about, once you do that brief, you have about 48 hours before they expect for deployment to begin. So not a lot of time beforehand. For at least some of you with military experience, it's a very short kind of assignment to deployment time. But nobody else around you seems to be too surprised by it.
Echo, that deployment time normal?
Yeah, I guess.
Is that
I'm
like
only-
a AMS thing, or is that just they need us to move and get the lead out?
I mean, AMS does like efficiency, which is kind of an oxymoron when it comes to them. But it.
I won't tell your CEO you said that.
Honestly, Lucas might agree. But I've seen it be pretty close to that. Like, this is an initial deployment, which is a little different. Normally we have like last time I went on a combat deployment, we were going into a established zone. We were rotating out another unit. So we had a little bit more of an acclimation period, but I'm getting the sense that isn't the case here. So we might just be.
So you're thinking it's like a rapid deployment situation?
Maybe.
All right.
Honestly, when you get mech time, when you get maintenance bay time tomorrow, keep an eye out if they got dropships being prepped. Then you'll know.
I'll send you a message if I spot any.
Yeah.
Thanks for the info.
Yeah. He just leans back in his bed. Like, nothing else going on, so he's one of those people that just kind of like enjoys the time without having to do anything.
Yeah.
Anybody?
Yeah. No,
Anything else?
you go ahead. I've had a bit here.
Yeah. Anybody else have anything to do after they receive that message for the night?
We have received word that a deployment's about to begin. So Oleg gets into his natural excited phase of like, yes, it is time to go to work. And he makes his way towards basically the armory to start checking out and prepping just ground equipment, because he believes that this is something that he is doing on foot. So he is starting to get into the preparation work for what is he going to need on this deployment.
What you notice when you go to like kind of the equipment check room is not a lot of like it's a lot of tertiary things. Talking like it's like your packs, like different hard suits, that kind of thing. There's not a lot of weapons here, or if there are, they're definitely locked up still. And you don't have access to a key or anything to open up any like armory that exists. But you're, funny enough, not the only one doing that. There's a couple of people who are also like checking over equipment and stuff, though they seem to be slightly different, and they're looking through like more tech gear. So they're like checking out like their like interface skins, or like their rugged like pads that they'd be using for like technical work, that kind of stuff. Not a lot of people like you who are just checking like the basics.
Is there a quartermaster on duty? I assume so.
No, there is a like a terminal.
Okay. So Clyde is probably responsible for renting this, of course. Then Oleg will probably spend a few moments kind of like looking over the terminal, just like tapping it to see if he can get its attention. Hello?
Yes?
Yes, I have deployment in 48 hours, and I need to make sure that I have access to the gear that I'm going to need.
All gear will be provided.
Provided? Wait. You mean I don't have to check it out in case something is lost and it comes out of my paycheck?
Affirmative.
Oh. Oleg kind of stands there for a few seconds, like thinking, thank
The firm
you.
looks after its employees.
Roach, that's a bit loud.
Okay.
Or
I'll just go back to. And Oleg will just awkwardly walk away, like the guy's just scratching his head, like this is just clearly not what he expected. A little out of his element.
yeah. So, did that work? I can't hear myself because then I can't talk.
It did
'cause
work.
it's all
It was
set.
It was a little loud, yeah, a bit of an echo.
But other than that, it was
Cool.
fine.
Cool. I can adjust the volume on my side a little bit, so that works. I'll just also make sure those background effects are totally off. Nope, can't do that. Okay, so yeah, you head back to your bunk, where Caitlyn, what are you up to after you see that message?
Caitlyn just be quietly rocking backwards and forwards, just a bundle of nerves?
Sure.
Thanks.
Yeah, Sarah's still in the room with you, and is kind of like looking at you from like the side, like through her eyes, and you okay, kid?
I literally got the job today, and we're being deployed tomorrow, and it's
You'll be fine.
It's a lot.
You're in a
Exciting.
you'll be in a giant death machine. You'll be safer at like that than you would have been as a mechanic on the ground.
I don't know if I would describe a starship as death machine. If the reactor's going critical, pretty bad, but otherwise they tend to be pretty safe.
I think she's talking about the mechs, Oleg.
Yeah.
Oleg just kind of looks like, oh, you are going to be in one of those. Okay, I understand now.
We're going to be in Mechs, Oleg. That's why we're here. This is where all the Lancers are assigned to stay. So yeah, everybody you meet around here is going to be a pilot.
Wait. When you say Lancer, you don't mean like clever name for preaching squad.
I mean, that can be a thing, but yeah, no.
Because in my old unit we were called Spearhead, and I thought, yeah, Spearhead, Lancer, it's all just sort of common
No,
lingo
it's not
for.
a unit assignment. No, it's a label. We don't even have our unit assignments yet. I know there's a unit called Arrowhead that is a part of the combat group name, like list, or like that can be drawn, but yeah, no, we're all Lancer pilots.
If you will excuse, and Look is gonna grab his pad and start looking for his contract.
Yeah, like everybody else, you would set a copy of your combat deployment contract, and I'm guessing Oleg reads it over, like double checking the fine
Yeah,
print.
like he's there. He's like he skimmed it the first time because this is he signed this at a time that was kind of rough for him, and as he's looking at it, where he's seeing like Mech pilot, he's like, or Lancer pilot, like the word pilot, he just missed it.
Well, it is actually kind of buried. When you read it, it says, "Congratulations, valued employee. A combat deployment contract has recently been opened with the Avari Military Solutions Field Office. Your employee identification number has been selected for field deployment. With this opportunity, you will have the chance to earn combat deployment pay and points that may increase your chances of promotion during your next contract negotiation period."
Like Oleg's nodding, like, yes, yeah, this all seemed really good.
Yeah. Keeping these amazing benefits in mind, you may wish to opt into open positions for this contract. Asterisk.
Should have read the fine
Details.
print, my friend.
Details of this contract follows. Contract ID number, CN1392171. Client, redacted. Contract class, Alpha. Fulfillment class, Priority. Location, Amorite Line. 10 in Star System, 10M Prime. Deployment duration, unknown. Transit summary, ship relative, embark to gate, 28.6 days. Gate to gate, 0.00000012 days. Gate to deployment system, 745.36 days. Total transit time, 773.980021 days. Total transit time, cradle relative, 7,312. Specific contract details are available to B-level and above personnel. By agreeing to this contract, you also agree to all standard terms and conditions within the AMS Combat Deployment Agreement, previously signed during your hiring process. Then there's a little asterisk that says right now, due to the priority nature of this position and this deployment contract, you have been assigned a position most beneficial to your Avari military evaluation taken when you were hired. And then it lists right below there, Lancer Pilot.
And there's a it takes Oleg a second to read through it.
There's a lot of terms and conditions after you have to get through to that bottom bit.
Yeah. Clyde, are there any open spots in the Lancer Sims?
Negative.
And Oleg's just gonna sit on his bed and he's just staring at the pad like. He looks nervous. So this is probably the first time he's looked nervous since the entire time here. Even talking about deployments and other things, like he actually thinks like they're going to strap me in one of those death machines, and I'm not going to. He just looks over at
get kind of like a she's like she wasn't doing this for you. She was trying to help Caitlyn because Caitlyn looked like the scared greenhorn that Caitlyn is right now, and then you immediately change your demeanor and she just immediately shifts all that energy to you. It's because no, not a death trap, a machine of death. I know it's different.
I don't know how to pilot those things.
It's pretty intuitive. They gave you this assignment for a reason. There's usually not that kind of fuck up. So
Is this about the neural uplink they put in the back of my neck when Project Ursa?
I mean, yeah, that would be an interface method, yes.
Oh.
It's pretty intuitive. Just manage your reactor output. Make sure you don't overload it. And you'll be fine. It's essentially just the same as being on the ground. You know, except your center of gravity's a little off and other things like that. But I mean, you'll get it. You'll get it. Tomorrow there'll be time in The Sims if you want to. I can run you through some things if that's something you need.
I just asked Clyde and he told me no, there was no time.
Let me swing some things.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be fine. Why don't you go ahead and lay down? Why don't you go ahead and lay down and just.
You know, like we'll just like very calmly like lay down with his hands on his stomach, and give him like 3 minutes and he's out like a light.
Yeah.
I feel less nervous now.
No, you don't feel more nervous that you're serving alongside this guy.
There's another greenhorn. You'll be fine.
Yeah. So yeah, by the way, that contract is in our handouts thing if you want to read it, because I spent a lot of time working through corporate bullshit, writing all that out just in case.
Red's gonna read it later on to double check your corporate like shenaniganery.
I've had to write things like this before.
Which is the best part.
Yeah. So yeah, throughout the night, everybody has their own processes as they're adapting, but lights out happens and everybody's kind of, settles in, and the morning comes around. And with the morning, you've got a morning meal, breakfast, a little bit of time just to yourselves before the meeting is set to start. Does anyone want to do anything pre-meeting?
Do I spot Demon or his big brother? Isn't that your call sign?
His call sign is Ursa.
Ursa.
Do I spot Ursa or Demon when I'm in the mess hall in the morning?
I haven't met you.
Well, I assume I've seen you around because we've been
They've
swapping out.
seen you. It's
Yeah.
a ship it's not that big.
We're also both Lancer pilots, so we're probably in a
You're-
similar area of the ship.
It may be a big ship, but is a limited area you are allowed to be in. So it's kind of, just through sheer filter, we've kind of had to be near each other.
You've definitely seen Ursa. If at any point we've both been out of cryo at the same time, because as I pointed out, Ursa tries to talk to anyone and everyone. So if you have not talked to him personally, you've seen him talking to people and just trying to be. He's so loud, it's hard to miss him.
Yeah, if I've not seen him, I've heard him. Yeah. No,
I'm saying
he'll
you're
approach
aware
Ursa
of both,
if he sees him.
but
He'll
you never
approach
talk
Ursa if he
to
sees him because
Demon.
he's talked to Ursa, not to Demon. So
Probably got a plate of like freeze-dried eggs in front of him.
Yeah, reconstituted eggs.
Yeah.
Just add
Yeah.
water.
just add water. Tastes just like the
Caitlyn
real thing. No, it doesn't, but it tastes just like the real thing.
It tastes like the real thing.
Oh, Caitlyn's there
What was
too?
that?
Okay.
Because she's currently following Ursa around like a scared puppy. So where he goes, she goes.
Surprisingly
Ursa.
enough, you've never seen this woman before, which is weird.
Okay. Well, he doesn't really. He's approaching Ursa and talking to Ursa because
I'm just,
you know.
Just giving you the context.
knows Ursa. Bye, Ursa. How you doing?
Hello. Good morning.
How are you doing? You look a little pale, and I've never seen you quiet.
It became aware to me that apparently my deployment here is not for ground forces, it is for Lancer pilot, and I do not have experience as pilot, so
Oh.
I have 24 hours now, close to it, 37 hours I think, before to learn everything there is to know about piloting, a several thousand ton death machine.
And since I don't recognize you, I assume you're in a similar boat.
Well, I know how to pilot one at least, but I've never fired at anybody. So we've got two sides of the same scared green coin.
Okay. Hey, Echo.
Huh?
Can I borrow you for a second, mate?
Yeah, he gets up. He was talking with, both of the other two would recognize he's talking to Sarah, your bunkmate.
Oh, hey, Sarah.
Hey.
You're looking a lot more alive. Nice to see you.
She's not a morning person either, so she still looks like shit, but
She's a little bit less dead.
It's a different kind.
Yeah.
But yeah. Echo gets up and walks over. Yeah, what's up?
I don't know if Sarah's told you, but we got two very, very green greenhorns here.
Oh yeah, you're her bunkmates, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the newbie and the newer newbie.
I don't know if we can figure something out to get them some extra sim time because they're
I
gonna.
was just talking with her about that.
Oh, should we?
No, it's worked out. No, because it's a public list, so she's just going over and she's gonna call in a couple favors. She's been around longer than I have, so she'll work it out.
Thanks,
She'll
Sarah.
get you. She like waves and she's nursing a cup of coffee.
2 cups.
Yeah, she'll call in a couple of favors. We'll get you at least like a session or two, just to kind of do some brush ups, I guess, with you, Ursa, right? Oleg.
Oleg, yes, sir.
Yeah. They'll run you through like a basic maneuver program and just kind of go through that. Do you have a call sign? No? Okay. We're gonna need to work on that. That's kind of a requirement.
My friends at home used to call me Spanner.
That works. Spanner. You're familiar with the basics. I guess they'll run you through a slightly more intensive program, but it's gonna be pretty basic. Don't worry, they have skill level things that you can dial in if you want.
Don't
but you'll get
worry,
about
it's pretty intuitive after the first couple hours anyway. Once you've done it for a bit.
Yeah.
A lot of the
And
mechs work the same. So.
Yeah, and you can also kind of at least do some basic stuff during the maintenance period later today, because you'll have to. They'll run you through the neural connection.
I'm actually looking forward to, because there's a reason my name is Spanner.
Great.
Yeah.
They come in all sorts
good.
here. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, just if you need anything more, just ask. But everything we got you too. We got you too. I mean, we're only as strong as our weakest link.
Hey, we're all going
Sarah's great.
we're all going into hell together. We might as well make sure we're all ready for it, right?
I will have you know that in my previous breaching squad, we were not the weakest link. We were 4th of 6th.
Hey,
that's
C's
better
make
than 6 of
degrees.
6,
What's that word?
right?
Yeah, that's a saying, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's how I got my my whatever the equivalent of GI is in this universe degree.
Yeah.
What's your name? Sorry.
Oh, mine. You can call me Victor, or my call sign's Reaper.
Okay. Thank you.
Bit of a try hard that one.
Hey, it was given to me, man. I can't help it.
You know, I think I've had.
wish.
There was 3 guys who had that name in my old squad. They kept cycling it out when the other one would die.
That sounds about right. Yeah. There was only one
That's
of
grim.
me, so
I'm gonna go have my breakfast. So if you need anything, just
thanks for
call.
the help,
And he,
Echo.
Yeah. And he like lays over his face, and he, like over his shoulder, and he goes back to eating his reconstituted eggs.
You two have pulled. Well, I don't know necessarily about you, Ursa, but I know you, Spanner. I don't know necessarily if you've pulled a great luck here or if you're gonna end up hating this. But hey,
I
welcome to
got
the team.
this job because someone died.
That's not all that uncommon. I hate to say it.
I know, but it still feels cursed.
It's a little cursed, but hey, I'll try to do my best, even if we're not assigned on the same team. Same with you, Ursa. If you need anything, I'm here. I'm not the most experienced on this roster, obviously, but hey, if you need anything.
It can't be that hard, can it?
As honestly, if you've controlled like any of those bigger like scavenging sort of mechs, or if you've ever seen anyone work one of those like forklift mechs,
I've done a power suit before.
yeah, the concept is very similar. It's just obviously you're 10 feet tall and you're carrying weapons that could blow a small hole in most tanks, but you know.
I've done that before too.
Good.
This seems. Yes, I feel like I've done this before. Sure. No. We can do this properly.
Absolutely. I'm sure you can. Both of you. I'm sure you're going to do great. He looks very earnest. He's very serious. He's very, like, confident in that.
Hey, we'll see tomorrow.
We'll figure it out. Hey, listen. Whatever you guys need, I'm on the ship. I'm on the record. Whatever you need. If you need, like, just to talk about something, well, I'm not the greatest talker, but I'll listen. Right. I've got to go hit the armory. Sorry, not the armory. I got to go hit the gun sim, just in case. It's usually, if you, Spanner, if you probably could use some time in the actual gun range, right?
Yeah, the last time I shot anything was... Oh, my parents were alive. Fuck. Yeah, it's a long time ago.
Yeah. Those pods aren't nearly as busy, so you can probably get some time in there as well today if need be.
All right, I have... can I just finish up here and follow you? Because I've no idea about this side of the
Oh,
ship.
absolutely. Yeah, I'm gonna finish my coffee and check in with a few things before I leave.
So with that, what's Demon up to? Like his mornings? Is he just like very creepily like eating without any like emotion, staring straight ahead, or is he? What's he doing? Is this?
You read my mind.
I
was
I've
hoping
been
to
for a
get some
while.
sim time myself, but you know, I don't know where my name is on this imaginary list.
You put it on there, but it's kind of a first come first serve and everything. And when you check it again, usually you're lower on the totem pole when it comes to priority. Just being a new, just being like a greenhorn when it comes to the company itself. At least according to like employment time here. So yeah, you don't really see any openings. You do see a couple like names shift around, which is kind of weird. So it looks like some people like traded like sim time. So they got like somebody named Spanner and somebody named Ursa now slotted in for like midday. But that's about it really. No openings. Still plenty, like the range is gonna be open and the gym's gonna be available, like what is a gym here is going to be available, and then just general like.
Okay, in which case I'll go back into stoic, dead motion zone and go to the gym.
Okay. Funny enough, you're kind of alone here. Looks like everybody's doing like the pre-brief kind of like talking with each other and kind of shaking out all the cobwebs. Everybody's awake at this point and had a night's sleep, so everybody's kind of that. So not many people join you. There are a couple of like old hands, like kind of puttering around doing like working out together, but working out, it's like, their own friends that they're kind of with. So you're the only one like alone.
The people who've been through this before and like are immune to the hustle and bustle of new mission. Strange.
Yeah, they're up there in age, kind of, like, surprisingly enough. But yeah, nothing too out of the ordinary there. And the time inevitably comes about an hour and a half after meal period in your schedule. You hear kind of a ship-wide announcement, or at least like section-wide announcement. You're not sure if it's the whole ship, but it's just it's announcing. It's funny enough not Clyde's voice. You hear the voice of a masculine voice calling out for all Lancers to report to meeting room 6. Meeting room 6. Follow your shipboard maps or ask Clyde how to get there. Don't be late.
Am I in the range with Spanner right now?
If you want to be, yeah. Totally can be.
Yeah, so
Do
I
like
was
a joint session.
Yeah, I was watching them. I was teaching them a few like pointers on stuff, and then I hear I assume it like rings out inside the sim as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, and I'm like,
pretty shitty comm system.
Yeah, I mean, it would be one of those things where like they can feed it directly into your brain, so why wouldn't they?
Yeah.
He goes, "Oh shit, we gotta cut it short." You did really well. Your recoil control could use some work, but my hope is that you won't have to use small arms. But if you do, keep it to short bursts, keep a center of mass, keep your head down. You should be fine.
I'd rather use the big arms in my big arms.
Smart.
All right, I've no idea where I'm going, so I'm just going to follow you again.
Follow me. I got you.
Yeah, Spanner. Pretty glad that it was Reaper who took over, because the inbuilt kind of training avatar, kind of an asshole. Very much stereotypical. It's very a stereotypical pre-programmed drill sergeant avatar, and they weren't helpful.
Reaper comments on that like, "Oh, this fucking dickhead, man! They couldn't program in someone who's actually good at training people. They just get someone who's good at yelling."
Form a military program or something.
Nah, I think it's just their standard like VI built in. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It's probably the cheapest option. Let's be honest.
It's like a cheap PNG of the company logo over the logo of the person of the company that programmed the.
Yeah, it's not well photoshopped or anything. It's just like it's over it, and there's still some transparency, so you can see it through it.
Yeah, it couldn't even pay for a real PNG. It's just with the transparency. No, that's that's a JPEG of a PNG. Yeah, but no. So you start heading there, and you would meet up with people you've known before and everything, because it's a small ship, and there's only so many ways to get into a single compartment. So you meet up with Ursa and Echo and Sarah, whom you would also know Sarah's call sign, which.
Yeah, I just have her down as Sarah. I don't have a call sign.
Yeah. Grim.
Ah.
Yeah. It's a double entendre, because she's deadly, but she's also like really grim in the sense that she's always sick. So it's always a grim thing. That's the joke that she told you, because they're always like, if it sounds cool, it's got a really uncool backstory, is usually how it goes with call signs like that.
Yeah,
you never get to pick your own.
Yeah, Reaper's never told his story about his call sign. He just lets other people make the story for him.
But you all kind of meet and congregate in kind of a similar area. Demon, you kind of go by yourself as well, but you, funny enough, just the way the seating kind of works, all the seniors have kind of like predefined seats kind of near the center kind of places of like importance kind of thing, and you're kind of relegated to like the leftovers. So you actually sit next to Ursa, somebody you've seen around here because it's very hard not to see him. He's tall and big,
And bubbly.
yeah, and
His
loud.
call sign means bear, for God's sake.
Yeah.
That's the point. He looks like a big ass bear. His call sign's not a big secret. He's
Yeah.
big, he's fat, and he's hairy.
I tap,
Thank God for The Witcher 3.
Yeah. I tap Ursa on the shoulder as I sit down next to him.
Hello, everybody.
I might.
Yeah, just chattering back and forth. Everybody, Echo and Grim give you a wave and kind of like give you a thumbs up. You're doing great, kind of thing. And then everybody just kind of settles in, and the chatter kind of dies down as they wait. It's like a couple of jumping, like restless legs, and people like tapping the chairs and stuff. They're the kind of the cheap kind of. It's kind of like the further you go back, the higher it gets in the room. Like it's a pilot like brief like room, so it's made so that everybody can see anything in front of them at all times. So, but also the person can see everybody equally, kind of thing. So you're just waiting. It's like a little lecture hall kind of compartment. Cheap seats, metal, uncomfortable. It's like you can fold down a little like desk thing so you have a place to like take a stylus out and write on your pad or something like that if you need to. But after about 5 minutes past start time, you see two individuals walk out in front of everybody. You see a pretty tall and tan older gentleman, like full stark white hair, like high and tight, but white hair. And he's got a more standard uniform than what all the Lancers seem to be. The Lancers kind of customize what they want, and they're not super regimented. He's got a uniform on, like it's a company uniform. But he's got a uniform on, and it's got his last name. You see like birds on his collar, but it says Bryson on his name tag, and next to him is a woman whom some of you will be familiar with. You know her as the kind of right hand of the like commander of the detachment, whom is Bryson. Like we've already gone over it. Sophia Chang. She's exactly like described, just a very goth-esque kind of get up, not anywhere near as put together as the person she's standing next to, but still commands like respect. She's definitely serious about things, and kind of like everybody gets a little quiet when they walk out, and there's a little like half a beat survey of everybody, and Bryson steps forward. All right, so for everyone who's new, just keep quiet. Let's go over this. Doesn't take long. For everybody that's been here before, or we've done this before, you know what to expect. If you don't catch anything here, it's going to be sent to your pad. You can review the specifics. Now, there's been some security around the specifics of this mission. That isn't on me, so I know you're in the dark. There's a couple like chuckles, like that's not totally out of the norm from some of the people down like at the first row kind of place. Yeah, so we're pretty far out in the sticks. We're way out in the last line of jump gates. So we were all we've got. So anything that happens, we got to deal with it. There's going to be an occupation contract. We're taking a system and we're staying for a period. Specifics are going to be in your mission packet. Clyde's supposed to send that as soon as this gets done with. But more specifically, the more pressing matter, we're all going to be deploying in about looks over to Chang, and she steps forward and she goes 30 hours. 30 hours. It's gonna be pretty rapid, so you're not gonna have a lot of time to work out your units. So we're gonna just get through this and give you as much time as possible. We're doing hot drop, and we're going to have specifics on the mission in your packet. Let's get to assignments. And you see like a screen behind him lights up, and you see the roster of the battalion displayed in front. Displays each company, which has multiple slots. They look to be variable from anywhere from 4 to like 8 kind of members kind of thing. And it seems to be just listing the Lancers, none of the support personnel that are associated with it. But of the ones listed, there are a couple which aren't filled in, and there are a couple which are filled in. So they start listing it down, and it goes, all right. First up. Looks at it. All right, this one won the draw. Stormbringer. It's like, and so it lights up on the chart, and a couple of people like yeah, and like kind of like slapping each other on the back, and yeah. And Echo goes and just goes like, some of the senior ones get to kind of pick the names pre deployment, and it's all drawn from a hat.
It's advantages of seniority, right?
Yeah. So Stormbringer, and then it lists the names from there, and you see Sophia is the top like lead of that group, and it lists her call sign and her mech's call sign, and then there's 5 people below her, and her mech's call sign is Midnight, which is really try hard, which get in here, and her call sign is like a personal call sign is Sunshine. Yeah, you get to pick your mech's call sign. You don't get to pick yours. So, it kind of goes there. And it goes down another one. This one's pre-filled in, and it says, all right, Thunder Company. And then it lists a couple other names, and you see Echo is a part of this, but he's not in the lead of Echo, and that is Sarah is in there. Grim is leading. So, kind of...
I offered them a fist bump, if I can, from where I'm sitting.
None of you see your names on any of these so far.
Cool. I expected that.
Yeah, and they go through a couple of others. The rest
pink
that are,
bunny.
Yeah.
Yeah. The rest that they go through are they got Hammerhead. Then there's another blank one that gets called out, and it's what was it? It was
Meat Shield.
No. No, it was Shadow Strike again. It seems like an in-joke. Everybody laughs. And there's a couple of people you kind of recognize some of the names, but nobody that's like direct around you. And it keeps going down, and you're not in the roster. And then it gets to the kind of last one, which is Combat Group Hammer. And Combat Group Hammer seems to be a variable thing. It has like a space for 12, but none of them are filled in. It's a lot bigger than the others. And so it's not called a company, it's called a combat group. And then it says, all right, for everybody unlucky enough in Hammer. And then they presses a button, and you see names fill out. And you see Spanner. Well, actually, no, you see your name, Caitlyn, with a blank space, and then a blank space for the mech. It's like 4 question marks. Just like some people kind of tilting their head on that one. We'll have to work that one out, and then they go through everybody, and you see your name, Ursa and Reaper, and you see yours, Demon, as well. Kind of fill that out, and kind of everybody's like gives like a ooh kind of thing, like good-naturedly, but also you think it is real. Like, ooh, bad luck, because you're not the only greenhorns that are being deployed right now. Quite a few of them actually, but you're the only ones that have been kind of slotted into here.
Is there anyone else in our group?
not listed currently.
Everyone kind of sees Reaper shrug, like he fully expected this. He just sits back.
Hey, who's
comfortably.
Demon?
Can I point him out? Like, he's not sitting next to us, I assume.
I'm
He's
sitting
on
next
the
to
other
Ursa.
side of Ursa.
He's
Oh,
on
yeah.
the other side of me. Just look around him. I know he's round, but damn.
No, you see, I didn't realize that it was like the four of us kind of sitting in a line together. I thought Reaper got there. Sorry, I thought Demon had gotten there early, so he would have been further up.
Yeah, just makes things easier. Yeah, no, you're all kind of next to each other. And so yeah, you all got that.
Well, at least I've already met my squad. Mostly.
So I'm confused. Why does everybody seem concerned about this hammer group?
Because we're meant to be the runts who go in and take all the risks and everything and fill in the holes where they're necessary.
Bang.
Reaper got that. Yeah, we'll go over the specifics later. Bad luck. Sorry, guys. It's like going like that to you.
Thing is, all the guys who are going, "Ooh, look, we got the cool name and everything." A name doesn't mean shit when you're getting shot at.
This is true.
And everyone dies the same way, so...
Usually screaming and shitting themselves.
How much combat time you guys got?
A couple of tours with Union.
I have served for a bridging crew for several years, and then I was subjected to a super soldier program that didn't work, and now I'm back here. I have never been in a mech before.
I've been in a mech, but never in combat.
Both of them got Echo and Grim gave them called in a few favors to get them some sim time today.
Oh, that's why the names move around. Okay.
Yeah, they needed it more than we did, to be fair.
Fair enough.
Nice to meet you, Demon.
Nice to
Finally.
meet you, Reaper.
What about you? I assume you've got experience considering the way you're talking.
It's 3rd Special Operations Group Lancers.
Oh.
Union Military. Captain.
yeah.
6 years.
Oh yeah. Shit, I remember that group. Some good
Not many
boys.
people do. They normally die.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't on the opposite side.
But no, that was me. But I think my thing was, despite the experience, I haven't made a lot of friends, let's just say.
I've made some friends, but all it really earned to me was a couple sad looks. But hey, shit happens, right? We gotta make do with what we get.
Hey, combat unit's a combat unit.
Yeah, exactly. Means more time in the mech, means some opportunity to get some license points, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Means some time, probably some nice recon missions, nice and quiet. Let these two get some combat time.
Hopefully. Hey, for all we know, we could drop in there and everyone could already be dealt with and we could get them some actual field experience with the mechs.
That would be nice.
There's a whistle down below as everybody's kind of mumbling at the same time you're talking as well, and then that kind of shuts up and is all right. You'll have time later. And for your detachment leader, I give you over to Sunshine. She'll go over the specifics of your mission. Good luck. And you see Bryson walk out. I've got better things to do. Sophie walks forward and the Tad and just goes, all right, well, now that we've gotten that little thing out of the way, let's go over the specifics, ladies and gentlemen. And the card behind her slots to another one and looks to be an op plan, or at least a general layout of an op plan. And they start going over it. So the ships are to be expecting light resistance. We're attacking a government that is in command, or at least ruling, the local star system. They're not going to have a lot, but there's going to be some. We got a lot of firepower on our side, so we shouldn't have any trouble on our end. We're not slated for space deployment or vacuum, so good for us. There's one habitable system, or one habitable planet in the system. Hold on, actually, I have a thing for this. And active. And this map of the star system comes on. This is Tanam. Single star main sequence. 1 habitable planet, 2 marginal, the rest are gas giants.
Roach, hang on, nothing's showing.
That's odd.
Midge probably doesn't have permission to view the scene.
Oh, no, it should be, because configure, it should work.
Well, I can't see it on mine either.
Nope.
We're using a whole new thing.
Oh.
Generally,
I've got a system view.
Yep,
there we go.
That was good.
Just took a second for it to pop in.
It defaults to there being
Fog of War?
a fog of war system, and you have to uncheck that if you don't want that. So I forgot to uncheck that one.
New VTT, folks. We're getting used to it.
Yeah, we're getting it. So yeah, this is tandem. Main sequence star, 1 habitable, 2 marginal. The rest are gas giants. We're gonna be hitting the habitable. It's got a moderate population according to what we know, but that is 20 years out of date, so could be anything. Expected light resistance in orbit and moderate resistance down below. We have a standard op plan for insertion. Hit them hard, hit them fast, take over their orbital capabilities in their largest city, and eliminate their ability to interdict us. And then it zooms down closer onto like a superimposed view of the like planet surface, and you see kind of a not a coastline, but near a coastline, but you see a city that's in a flat area near the equator. It's kind of like lush-ish. It's Earth-like, but not like a garden world. It's more just like, it's okay. This is livable planet, from what you can see from the overhead view, and it highlights kind of insertion points and where people are going and everything. And you see most of the units are being deployed external of the city, and they're creating a cordon with a couple of others being deployed in or right at the city limits. And it zooms in closer, and it says, all right, these will be deploying near city limits and moving inside to take over the 3, and it clicks again, and you see highlights 3 areas. Launch facilities. I moved over back to the previous voice. To launch facilities. These have to be taken before we can assure the flyboys that we have control over the area, and they'll provide more direct support. So the 3 assigned are Hammerhead, Combat Group Hammer, and Shadow Strike. And you see them highlighted. You'll be deploying, securing your LZ, and then moving in, if need be, mutually supporting each other, and take out the launch facilities. Either destroy them or take them over and hold the ground. There will be ground forces moving in along, and there's highlights of like conventional forces that will be deploying in a similar way as us. So they might need your help, or they can help you. Situation on the ground is going to be fluid. The rest of you are on a cordon. We expect most of their combat troops to be deployed outside the city. And you'll be keeping them from reinforcing the interior. Any questions?
Click on the hand.
Go ahead.
Is there any particular instances of HVTs in the area? Anyone we know of? Any kind of high-ranking officers that may or may not cause an issue? Anything of that nature, man?
Nothing particular to call out.
Copy. Thank you.
Go ahead, sir.
Civilians.
We expect moderate amounts of civilian activity. They're going to see us coming, so they should hopefully evacuate the major population centers, but that's not necessarily on us. Avoid unnecessary casualties.
Keep your fire tight. Got it.
Go ahead, sir.
Overhead, what's the air cover like?
we're going to control the interface orbits, so nothing hypersonic, hopefully. We will have a squadron of birds in the air to try and contest the airspace. As normal, each unit will have ISR directly provided by a handler. You'll be talking with them before launch for actual deployment or on the way to deployment, so that shouldn't be an issue. Yes, sir.
Enemy contact deployments in the area?
No firm information. We know they have moderate strength and have a moderate amount of training. We expect potential mechs, but as to their capabilities, unknown. We do expect them to be... I could finish my point, sir.
I thought you were just talking bullshit.
Go ahead, sir.
Escape and evasion.
If things go tits up, the interior units move back to the cordon units. If things go bad there, the major lines, the major ships will take position over the deployment zone and will affect a more active suppression role.
And then turn to the guys. They have no idea what we're dropping into.
Not uncommon.
They rarely do.
Yeah, that's usual.
Yay.
And if we're lucky, we'll be on neutral air above us.
Yeah, that sucks. We'll make do.
All right. Any other questions? Nobody else raises their hand. Specifics are in your packets.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Can I check? Is there any like extra financial incentive for taking the in the packet? Is there any like extra financial incentive for taking the what would you call it, anti-orbital? Would that be correct? The anti-orbital installation is correct, intact, or is it a case of no matter how you take it, you're going to get paid the same?
Yeah, it's not like you have extra like.
There's no bonuses.
It's not like a video game. It's like a video game where it's like, oh, you complete this side objective, you get an extra 15% pay. No, it's not like that. It's more just like you have objectives, try and take them without destroying them, but you're not going to be. Destroy them if you can't keep the area, that kind of thing.
Cool.
It does, and then there's like a readout of like the order of battle and stuff, and it does like talk about like, oh, there's going to be this amount of like conventional mechanized troops that are going to be deployed, and there's a fair number actually. Like, there's a pretty big complement aboard the Reproach, but there is another carrier in the fleet now that you see, because there's a readout of the full order of battle, and it's pretty beefy boy. Like, it's pretty beefy.
Pretty beefy boy.
Yeah, we're talking multiple groups of ships.
Okay.
At least like 3 or 4 groups in this battle group. So
cool.
It's
okay.
Multiple destroyers, 2 carriers, and a couple of cruisers.
Right. I check the watch on my wrist. Is it time for Ursa and Spanner to hit the mech sims?
If you have nothing else to do, yeah, you can go ahead and run them through the basics.
Well, now I know who my team is. I'll go with them.
I was going to ask, is there a way for us to like get in the sims without actually being in the pod, like a simulated entry, so that way we can watch and give
like VR type thing?
Yeah, like we can sit outside the things with like a headset on and say, give them pointers and stuff.
Yeah, you can connect, because that's how instructors kind of do it normally. They'll go in and they instruct and stuff.
I turn to Demon and say, so who do you want to jump in with?
Well, let's make this discreet. When we go down, we best pair off with one each anyway. We're the only 2 with combat experience. You don't want to leave them on their own. So whoever you go with, you stay with them on the ground.
Considering Spanner has mechanic experience, right? You said that? You know how to fix mechs and stuff? You're probably going to want to stay out of the major fires, so I might stick with you, because my expertise is more long-range engagements and...
Oh, I'm Vanguard, so...
Yeah.
That's it. You're with me.
Okay. I am used to being Vanguard. I was always first in breach.
Great. Less talking.
Right, Spanner.
Yeah,
you're coming with me.
You go ahead. You get the 2 open pods before anybody else is kind of here. You can definitely see that they are reserved. So you go in, and the 2 that are slated go in. The 2 that are going to be supporting, you get some like basic goggles together, and like I was gonna say plug-in, but this is like the future. It's definitely like Bluetooth 6000 or something like that. Like
Thunderbolt version 750 patch version 6.2.
But surprisingly, only USB 4.
Yeah, surprisingly.
Look, that is just a dig at my Elite Dangerous stream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true though.
Yeah.
It was USB-D. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's USB-C at least.
You load up into the Sims, and you each take the others through kind of what they need to know.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we're gonna classify this as, we're gonna give you some mechanical things right now. With this, we're going to give you some reserves, which is kind of a downtime thing you can do in the game, where you can get something to give you advantage or some bonuses during a mission that you're going to go into. So what I'll say is it'll be technical advantage. You're gonna be actually like going for this. So what I'm gonna ask you is the 2 that are training are gonna be rolling. So combat wise on your sheets, or the tactical system, I want you to settle on what you want, on what you think would be best for this, how you want to train him, and then tell me that, and then we'll work on what you specifically want to do.
So does that mean that I have to use a talent to train them, or can I use a narrative thing to train them, like a skill trigger?
If a narrative thing kind of works, you can do that. I'm allowing you to also roll other stuff if you would like.
Cool.
This is more because it can kind of go both ways.
Cool.
Ursa, what type of mech are you?
We're all in the same mech.
No, like Vanguard.
So, I didn't know this was a mech deployment when I signed up for it.
Okay.
So, presumably whatever the default equipment is. There might have been minor adjustments due to my profession, but I don't exactly know what my mech looks like.
Right, so you're probably just gonna be a base assault mech. Okay. That works.
So for you 2, I'd allow something like for Demon to roll. You could do something like Stay Cool if you want to do a narrative one, because you're trying to train somebody. Survival would also kind of work because you're trying to.
What I was thinking was, because of Spanner's lack of combat training, let's get her through the first one without being shot at. So what I was thinking was act unseen or unheard. Trying to teach her like how, like, mechs are obviously big, but they're not so big and ungangly that you can't be stealthy with them, because that's Reaper's whole thing. So I was thinking that, or Infiltrator as my tactical, but that's more of an advanced thing. So what I was thinking more of just go pure act unseen or unheard. Teacher, mechs are big, but they're not so big that you can't use terrain to your advantage. You can't. They can crouch down. They are more agile than you would think. If that works.
Oh, that totally can work. So go ahead and give that a roll, and use that with a +2 with that trigger, and we'll see how it goes. How good you roll will dictate kind of what you get.
So if I click on the skill trigger and then I get the act unseen and unheard interface, I just click roll, and I should roll with the base +2, right?
Yes.
Cool. 19.
Very good. Okay, yeah, so what
he's a good teacher, surprisingly.
Yeah, Reaper takes you through like step by step, giving you some ideas, pointers, like taking you through basic maneuver and just general awareness of where you're at with it, and kind of giving you a better feel, making you more confident is what a lot of this is happening. You're very, very confident.
This is a urban-esque deployment, right?
From what you've heard, yes.
Can the sim be made into an urban-esque deployment?
Yeah, if you want to, you can definitely do that.
Yeah, so I'm doing that, and I'm like, so buildings are tall enough you can hide behind, and even buildings that are rubble can be used as cover. So remember, you can crouch down, and you have the innate advantage of being in a standard mech, so they're usually painted in gray, so they tend to blend in very well. You know, stuff that he would have learned in his basic.
Yeah. And so you run through that, and you've got about an hour of direct one-on-one that you run through. And what this translates to is essentially what it's in the system. It's called a systems reinforcement reserve. What that means is during the mission spanner, you have a +1 accuracy that you for skill checks with 1 skill for the duration of the mission. So you can pick that, and you have an advantage on one of those. But you have to pick which one of the 4.
So what was that again? Sorry.
You get a +1 accuracy to skill checks made with 1 skill for the entire mission. So you have to pick either hull, agility, systems, or engineering. And you pick that, and then you have to stick with that 1 +1 for that 1 skill. But it's not locked in yet until you deploy. So just try and work it out and figure out what you want to do.
Okay, for Ursa, I'm going to go stay cool. Perform tasks that require concentration, dexterity, speed, and precision under fire.
Okay, go ahead and roll it, and we'll see how it goes. What?
That's a 5.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Ursa. I tried.
Nope, this is fine. The narrative said that this is the first roll we fail all day.
So yeah, it's because the way the system works, yes, you didn't meet a 10, so it's not catastrophic or anything like that. But essentially, what happens is you do take Ursa through the basics, like how to maneuver a mech, how to work the base.
There's probably like a solid half hour or so where, as Ursa's trying to get in the feel for it, he's not used to the way his body is connected to the mech, and he just keeps falling over.
Balance is a major issue.
Like, yeah.
My idea was that, once got him kind of used to moving around in a mech, him being able to not trip over his own feet when gunfire's firing across.
Yeah.
So had a bunch of mechs kind of firing at him, get from A to B through the buildings with mechs firing that were going to miss him anyway.
Yeah, just shooting over your head, getting him used to.
But the idea is they're shooting just in front of him, just behind him, things like that. So he's feeling that kind of simulated combat surge.
Yeah.
While staying cool and calm and getting through it.
I'll say this, because of the way the system works. So you don't get the reserve, you don't get the extra +1, which is what this would have been. But I'll say, Ursa, you do get a fairly comprehensive rundown of how to use a Mac and kind of the basic systems, as well as like just generally. It's settled into the way that you're more confident that you can do what you need to do, but not enough that you've received like an actual like boon for a mission kind of thing.
No, I see. I think I'm getting the hang of this. Yes, this is pretty straightforward. This is going to be fine.
Yeah. Well,
this seems much safer than hurtling through space in a drop pod to attach to a derelict vessel.
Yes, it is.
And so yeah, you run through the rest of your training time with that, and Ursa, you got a bit more confidence in what you're gonna do. You're able to maneuver the mech fairly well because it is a fairly intuitive system, and you're just you're built enough that the rigors of controlling a mech doesn't really bother you. It's more just getting used to the actual process that has to be done with it. But then your time ends, and another group has to like shuffle in, and like they're not being dicks about it when they maybe run over time a little bit, but they definitely are kind of like, we we need some time on The Sims 2 kind of thing, and
Oh, sorry,
eventually-
I know it's.
It's
But
cool,
we don't
it's
get it.
cool.
We don't get anybody that's like, what? You guys are just gonna die anyways. Get out of the damn pods. We are Hammer Group.
Yeah, what you see is that it's not as that. It's more like it's more like we get it.
Yeah.
like it was sorry. We get it. Like kind of
Okay.
that kind of thing. Like it's not.
There's
it's
a lot
not
more
like-
sympathy in this company than I was anticipating, and I'm not against it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When Spanner gets out of the pod, I give her a fist bump and say, "Well done. You did a good job. You got the hang of it. Well done."
Thank you. I'm really keen to go and see the mechs now, honestly.
Good idea. We should check them out.
Yep. And you do see there's been an announcement that you now have maintenance area access. That's like unfettered. It gives you like notifications. All the mechs, all your assigned mechs have been set up in their cradles in the areas that they are, and you can tell that they probably already knew where everybody was going like a day or two beforehand, because all the mechs are in like similar areas to each other. All yours are like in a line together in a maintenance bay, and that kind of thing. But if you head out there, you go. You don't see a lot of maintenance crew, or at least if you not near you. Reaper, go ahead and make a roll, because you were gonna check something. You were keeping an eye out for
Could I review
activity on the
spot
through
for
deck.
this?
Sure, yeah, actually, that totally works.
There's another fail. 6.
6. There's a lot of activity going on, but it's away from you, and you're not exactly sure. There's a lot of things worked onto the tarmac of the deck, or I guess onto the deck, but you're not exactly sure what's being worked on, what's not, because you do see drop ships, but you also see like fighters and like other craft.
I will update Echo with the didn't spot anyone working directly on drop ships, but could have missed something. Just to let him know, because I said I'd update him.
Yeah, and he gives you a thumbs up emote.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
got to check on
Sure
the Reaper's due then.
Yeah, all your mechs are exactly how you either left them, or if you had them beforehand, or in the case of the two that weren't expecting this, they are bare bone. They're exactly how you have them in your sheets, but essentially they're just bare bone Everests.
Minor refits that have been done just to get things up to standard.
Yeah, it's like weapons are what you'd expect. Capabilities look to be what you'd expect. If you like go up in the cockpit and check a couple of things, OS is pretty bare bones standard. There's been a couple of changes to like loading screens and everything to make it corporate compliant. Doesn't seem to be any like bloatware on the OS.
I hope not. I have an AI in my mech.
You have a CompCon in your
I have a
mech, not an
CompCon,
AI.
yeah.
Yeah, you have
Close.
basically it's the equivalent of a VI.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you like key that up and everything, the reactors are on, but they're in like a safe on mode. They're like minimum power. So the CompCon's on, but it's also working at a very reduced kind of capacity. But it basically can give you like a rundown and like cross check.
Yeah, I just check all the
everything.
systems and all that. Spanner and Ursa and Demon all noticed that the only thing, well, there's two things about Reaper's mech. One, on the left shoulder, there is a scythe with a Reaper written on it, and that's the only bit of like custom exterior you see. And on the inside, there's like a custom sort of pod that he is like not. I don't know if it's fixed or if it's like one of those things that you can pull out and pop into another mech. But in there, it looks like there's like a full capability of holding like a full small arms set in there, like rifle, knife, all that sort of stuff in there.
Yeah, there's like a combat kit. Or
Yeah.
like a little.
It's
yeah,
not standard
universal
issue,
pod.
but
Yeah.
At least the way he has his set out, it's not standard issue.
Yeah. And Demon, what does gray area look like?
Grey.
Gray.
No, it literally is. It's a very textured grey paint. The idea being that in urban environments, dark environments, mountainous terrain, the mech can blend in with the surroundings. because it doesn't look shiny and metallic.
Diffuses the light. So
Yeah. The whole part was in his special ops training was you strike when you're not noticed, because that's when the enemy doesn't expect you. And in a Lancer, it's a bit more difficult because you're not so small, so you have to use every advantage you can get your hands on.
True.
yeah.
It has some bits of equipment which are a very dark green, because that was the only equipment he could get for the actual mech itself. But the overall color pattern is a very rough matte gray.
Mm-hmm. Say so your personalizations is just a paint to help because you have personalizations and custom paint jobs. I'm just working out, is the custom paint job the gray, and then what's the personalization, because that could provide you a benefit if you provide the reason it could. So
personalization is just he set it up the exact same way he had it back in when he was in the military. So it's kind of like when you set up your mouse and things like that, it moves to your expectations.
API dialed in.
Yeah, so it's
like,
he spent a lot of time, which is why he wanted to get into his mech yesterday, to check nothing's been tampered with, changed through maintenance cycles when someone's been playing around with it or anything like that. It's his mech.
Yeah, no, you look through it. Every one of your personalization settings seems to be totally fine. The only thing that's been changed is like the only thing different than what you're used to is the base UI, and OS is like a personalized version for the company but your things has been installed on top of, which show it should function pretty well with the same. If you run it through like a couple of like test goes of like moving an arm up and down, like just testing like its response time, it seems smooth. Like this has been pretty well taken care of.
Okay. Well, that is literally his only personalization. He's not into aesthetics and things like that. It's about precision and use. Okay. It's a mech. It's built to kill. It's not built to make people go, "Ooh, pretty."
Yeah. Yeah. And then the other two, it's fairly standard. Jean Grey, what was the personalization on that? Because it is the mech you've been provided, so but you have personalization, so you can make that decision. Well, the mechs are your characters too, so describe them.
As a comp con, but I don't know what else I've put in here.
Well, you have personalizations, which is the same thing I just described to Rival, is that it gives you a +2 HP, and if you kind of work it out, you can establish like a minor mod that you can give to the to it. No numerical value, but might affect things.
Can she install like a pair sort of station which has the usual extra oil, nuts, bolts, and the ever important, it's definitely going to still exist, duct tape?
Yeah, you could do that, and it's also probably got like a little mini portable printer, since most everything's 3D printed, including these mechs in this time period, in this setting. So you probably got like one that's not good enough for like most things, but it's good enough to like, oh, I need this coupling, so just like put that into the printer, and you can get like a replacement part or something like that, like super minor things. So you could probably like, if you can work it out, or you could like log in a request and it'll be done by the time it's ready to go for the deployment without too much trouble.
So the only other thing is she's start running a full systems check and then go over every single.
What was that? Sorry, you cutting out.
She's going to run a full systems check and then go over every single joint on this thing manually.
Okay. Yeah, going through all the hydraulics and everything like that. Yep, you do that. And Ursa.
Yeah, so the only customization that has been set to his mech is it seems like some kind of gel layer has been insulated in between the cockpit and the outer section of the core section. Something that would help trauma impacts when being slammed in the middle. Probably something's meant for stabilization or just lessening trauma to whoever is piloting this thing. When he got time to do that, who knows? But it seems like that was the one personalization he had done to this mech. Was basically extra padding in the cockpit.
Yeah, we'll just say that's a thing you're doing now because you have basically the rest of the day to like do your mech maintenance and everything like that. So that's totally fine. And if you give a request, the crews aren't unloading anything anymore, so they're a bit more open-ended. And a lot of people see it's not an uncommon thing. Other people are doing like minor modifications and things for pre-deployment. So totally understandable.
As for colorization, he has basically had his entire mech decked out in this basically royal navy, very deep dark blue, except for his right arm, which is just a shocking reddish orange. For no explicable reason.
Yeah, no, that totally works. And no matter what you all want, there is still a very prominent Avari Military Solutions company logo on some part of the mech. It's required to be on there of a specific size, so it's about the size of a person's head, and it's a bright red, blue, and white thing with not even just like rondelle. It is just the actual logo with Avari in letters on it. Like I keep that branding going, yeah. And then from that point on, you just spend time getting your mechs together, doing any mods that you need to do, rechecking over things. You can review your mission packets and deployment packets. Everything's like open for the rest of the day. Not a lot you could really do in terms of like talking or getting information from other people, because if you do notice that basically everybody else is doing the same rigmarole you are. Like they're doing final checks, talking over things as teams, that kind of thing. You could spend time like going over a plan if you wanted to. Yeah.
Is there actually anything useful in the docket they gave us about what we're dealing with?
Well, first, Red, what were you guys
Sorry.
Your hand raised?
Shadow Strike, is that the one with Echo and Grimmin?
Yes. Yep, so they're also being deployed on the ground, similar mission to yours. There's 5 of them as opposed to 4 of you. But if you like look around, you can actually like spot them. They're not directly next to you, they're across the hangar and to like the right a little bit, but you can like either in your eye line kind of thing. Funny enough, you're kind of by yourselves. For some reason, there's like an empty maintenance. There's a couple of empty maintenance cradles for other mechs that are just empty, like to either side of your 4. Looks like it can expand to like maybe 8 total if need be. But so you're only filling about half of those.
Well, are we going to talk about any kind of plan, or are we just going to play this by the skin of our teeth?
Well, we don't know what we're going to face. We have 2 rookies with us. I don't want to...
As he's listing these problems, Oleg is counting them off on his fingers.
Well, we're going into an unknown urban location which could have civilians in play. We've got an unknown enemy force that we're going to be facing against, probably neutral sky at best. 2 rookies on board, and we have no idea how they're going to react to the combat environment until we get down there.
So shit's already foobar before we hit the ground is what you're saying?
Yeah, pretty much. We're better off sticking together at first. If we need to separate, then we come up with a plan when we're on the ground. We try not to engage until we've got a proficient lay of the land and the forces we're opposing.
I will say, I'm good at spotting stuff.
And then we will use you in that way.
That's good. It's good to have 2 people who can do that at least.
Until we know what we're going up against, we move slow, we move quiet. We try and stick to high ground.
Try to catch him off guard when we do spot something.
Exactly. We play guerrilla tactics, ambush, hit and fade.
Got it. Works for me.
Also keeps our 2 friends further from the action if necessary and possible.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, both of you. You've been stuck with us.
It's not
It's not your fault.
We could be in any unit and still have greens next to us. It's not a problem.
It's not your fault.
And you have to learn sometime. Better you learn with two people who've been there, done that.
Yeah. Could be a lot worse.
I didn't even have this job last night.
Jesus.
Probably should.
You
Not taking it. Just gonna say.
They didn't give me a choice.
Of course.
You
not.
don't really get a choice in the contract, mate. It's kind of a case of if the Lancer dies, they go down the list and pick the next guy. That's be how it works anyway. At least that's what I've gotten from Echo and Grim.
Funny enough, you would have probably been doing the job of the people you're ordering to fix up or do specific things to your mech right now during your pre-prep phase.
Which is why I'm not ordering anyone. I'm either asking nicely if I need help or doing it myself.
Yeah, you're used to this, so you're totally fine with it. So after a few hours of working on all this, you do get a message on all your pads, internal communication. And you did have like the general mission packet that you were sent, which basically covered everything they covered. But you receive a specific op plan, Combat Group Hammer op plan. And it also gives you the name of the operation, which was not included in your packet. So it's called Operation Point Blank. Not exactly sure if that has any double meaning or anything like that. It's just what's on the packet. But it goes over specifics. It tells you where your drop zone is specifically. Tells you what your transport bird is, who your handler is. Like goes over all that information. Over specifics. You're being dropped into like a public park that's right on the edge of the city. Because it's flat, and you're going to be doing a touch and go at best. So your mechs are going to be flat packed in the cargo hold, and you'll be jumping in them right before you go down, kind of thing.
They couldn't have made this any harder for the Greens, huh, Demon?
Not really, no. Let's go talk to our pilot.
Good idea.
Yep, you're on board you read your kind of deployment instructions, and you are being assigned to CR2 is the call number for this bird, and they're like pretty standard, like universal around Union. These are military spec transports. They got enough they can hold a lot of mechs if need be. They don't need to flat pack you, but the way that they're having to deploy you from what you get in the packet is they're not going to stop. So they're just going to, like, it's going to push out your mech that's flat, and then it's going to deploy like a chute, or you're going to have a thruster or something like that to stop you from like dying on the way down. And that's going to, and then the bird goes back to where its like holding pattern is going to be kind of what you got a sense of.
I got some jump jets with my mech. I'm not too worried about the landing. I can keep an eye on our two Greens.
We need to know if the chutes are manual or automated.
You see the bird kind of sitting in a line of other birds, and there's crew around it, and it is open. This is like big enough as a ship. Like think like a buff or like a C-130 or something like that. These are big. These got like crews to manage them.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, you see a couple of people that look like they could be like the onboard crew. They're not dressed as maintenance or deck crew because they're not in bright colors. This is what you're getting a sense of.
Okay, kind of walk up to them. Go. Where's crew chief?
Oh, inside. Just going down the hold and up the stairs to the right. I think they're going over maintenance or something.
Appreciate it.
Yep. He goes back. He's like looking over like a schematic or something. They got like the engines open up right now.
As long as they're not taking the engine apart while they're, that's fine.
No, there's just like an access panel open, and he's connected manually into it. So you think maybe like a
Systems
maintenance check or a check. Yeah, they're just going through.
Yeah, as long as they're not taking pieces out of the engine bay, we're fine.
Yeah. But you go inside. This is spacious. You've been on these before. They're combat aircraft, or they're combat spaceship / aircraft kind of combos. They're meant to be rugged, but they also have enough room that they could these are the equivalent that they could deploy a company of mechanized troops if need be. But for mechs, they're pretty like perfect for like a squad or like a group. So you got the maintenance cradles, or at least like the storage cradles and the hold. But you go up, you go over like the standard kind of military ladder that's way too steep, but so it has really shitty rail like hand guards to
non-slip steps, which amazingly can slip.
Yeah, slip, non-slip steps.
Yeah.
But you go up and you take the directions like I said, and you see like essentially like is like a command deck. Like there's in front of it, you see where the actual like control seats are for like the pilots themselves, and then there's like a secondary area behind which has like a full suite of like monitors and electronics and like control panels. And you see about like 4 or 5 people kind of all huddled around to our like crew, like a deck crew, and the rest are all dressed as like, you know, pilot overalls and stuff. And one of them looks up. Yeah.
Looking for the crew chief and the pilots.
Jerry. And like another one who's like talking with like a deck crew, and like looks over. Gives him that, comes over. Yeah. What's up?
Hold out a hand.
Oh, yeah. I'm guessing there are charges for tomorrow.
Yeah, Demon, Reaper, Spanner, Ursa. Spanner and Ursa are kind of new to this game, so just a quick couple of questions so we can train them up right for tomorrow.
Sure.
Okay. Drop pods. We're getting dropped out the back on a touch and go, so parachutes are manual or automatic?
You'll be auto deploying. It'll detect when we release the clamps, and we're going to be pretty close to the ground, so it's basically instantaneous. You'll be pretty fine. Like, if it changes in mid-flight, your handler should inform you of that. I would give you to her, but she's not here right now.
No problems at all.
So just I'll let her know that you came around to ask questions.
Yeah, one other thing. Do you have any further info on the drop zone? Is it hot?
All we got is the records they gave us, which I think they're like city planning records, and a couple of like orbital photos from out this far, which are iffy. It's a park, so it's pretty open, surrounded by some buildings on one side, and then it's kind of open to plains on the other. You're going in, so if they've got a perimeter defense, you got that. I guess the plan is, I think your handler's going to be doing she's got the info equipment. She's going to be giving you things on the fly. It's usually how it goes. She'll be here with us, and we're going to be in a halo above.
All right, cool. Reaper?
Yeah.
Got anything else?
I have one thing.
Go for it, Span.
Sorry.
Go for it.
Do we know whether it's going to be day or night planet side when we drop?
Let me check. Mike. It's like gets the headphones off. Bring up the damn time zones, and they check. Be pretty morning, it looks like.
All right, that's not as bad. Could be worse.
I was thinking
Morning
civilians
relative.
though in a park, if it's a city park.
Well, the hope is that they see us coming and they get the fuck out of there. If not,
I don't know if you're familiar with space combat or just generally like information on this far out. I don't know how much work you've done out here. You can see us coming. There's not a lot you can really do to hide an engine plume.
they know we're
just in
coming.
general. Yeah.
So
they know
if the
we're
civilians
here.
don't get out of the way, they're probably spies, but at the same time, you can't really do much about that. You just gotta leave them be. They won't get in the way at the very minimum.
Yeah.
At least
I don't envy you all for what you're going through, but yeah, not much I can do about that.
I would say the pay is good, but that'd be lying.
There's a chuckle around the room from everybody.
All right, appreciate it. We'll see you tomorrow, yeah?
Yeah, you probably won't see me, but you'll see one of my crew. They'll get you settled in. There's a hold pen above the hangar. we're going to be putting you in once we know our exact flight path. We want you strapped in for the entry.
No problems.
Copy.
Yep. Good
Well,
luck.
safe flight tomorrow, obviously, since I won't be seeing you. And he'll hold out a hand to give him a shake.
Yeah, no, he shakes it and everything. Yep, good. And they go back to whatever they were doing. Looks like there's.
I gotta
general
visit
prep
the
work.
armory and pick up some equipment. Does anyone need anything?
Nah, I got my own.
Yep. This is would be the time that you finalize your mission gear if you already don't have that for your character. So this is the time to change it or modify it as such from what's available.
Can I just like stack the full like quote unquote loadout into his like hot swap kit, like the inside of the one in his mech? So like he has
Yep.
a DMR and a submachine gun and a pistol and a serrated knife. You know the.
You say you've got a gun. That's you got a gun and you've got a melee weapon that's kind of as deep as it gets in terms of like pilot.
So if he wanted to get it like something
weapons.
else, he'd have to talk to somebody or requisition it or something.
You're given, from what I remember, you're given what was it, one weapon or no, it was two weapons and a piece of equipment.
Yeah, there's 2 weapons and a piece of equipment.
Yeah.
Ah, right.
So
one
you get.
weapon,
So I'm saying
one
you.
sidearm.
Ah,
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've got a heavy assault cannon, a light signature pistol, and an assault hard suit.
They're under pilot's narrative.
Cool. I don't see mine there, so I'll just see what's in the compendium.
Let me check. You might not have put it in there before you.
Might not have, to be honest. I'll check.
Yeah. So yeah, I think the armor you can just get generally. I think that you can get that but at least I'll allow that for this because we've had some time. But yeah, so I'll just say, I mean, I can put it in there if you just want you want a knife, you want a gun, then a special gear would be something like.
Can I get the stealth hard suit? Is that something I can get?
Yeah, it's gear.
Yeah,
You just
so
get to pick.
he's a stealth hard
Yeah.
suit. And where's the weapons? Pile of weapons. There they are.
Yep.
I'm just going to check and see what's there.
It's pretty basic. There's not a lot of. There's archaic, heavy, light, and medium, and signature specials.
So would a
I just
sidearm be a light then? I assume.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, he has a light signature and then a medium.
Medium signature. Yep. It's an assault rifle or assault rifle, shotgun, like like small lasers, that kind of thing.
And then gear, wasn't it? You got one piece of gear.
You get one piece of gear, and you get to pick whatever you want, and you've got that. So like any from extra rations to like a frag grenades to a handheld printer. Differentiating for you, Spanner, the printer you have as a personalization is a micro printer. It's made for small parts. The handheld printer can like make usable items to an extent.
Yeah, mine is more for. Yeah, mine is more for. I need this bit to repair the mech rather than I need this thing to make ammo.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah,
but yeah.
So smart scope is what I've gone for as the gear.
Cool. Yeah. So you slide everything in. You've got time to requisition and get everything packed and ready. Get your gear squared away. You find out that the bunking arrangement has been shifted to the individual companies and groups now. So you're all being bunked together and being put together. So you have to move your stuff back and forth, but you all pack light. The two of you that weren't with the other two are the soldiers who probably packed light, so it makes sense that you two, that Demon and Reaper, would just go to the other two.
Yeah, makes sense.
So that's probably how it goes. And yeah, you settle in for the night. Whether or not you sleep or do anything else other than prep is kind of on to you. But
Reaper sleeps like he's a dead man. He sleeps perfectly fine.
Does anyone have any shine?
Not that I can think of.
There is absolutely booze that will come out of Oleg's footlocker if there is a request for somebody to have something to drink.
it is digestible.
That is the best way to describe it. It is alcohol that is digestible.
Yeah.
Caitlyn will have a gulp to help her sleep.
You do so.
No, I'm feeling so much better about this. I don't think anything is going to go bad. Unless, of course, the drop pod fails. That could be bad. But, I mean, what the odds of that happening are like 1 in 1,000 or something like that.
Yeah, let's not talk about that. Just because.
I'll have you know that in all of my years serving, it only happened 3 times.
Just before we go,
Not to me.
just before we go, what is Reaper's nightly ritual? Does he also just sleep like a baby?
I mean, I was the one who said that I sleep like a baby. So,
I mean, demon. Sorry, it's gonna be bad.
Demon basically just goes through his pre-operation ritual, checking his weapons, making sure everything's the way he wants it, everything's in the right slots and things. Goes to bed early, wakes up early to make sure when he's needs to get things rolling, he's already ready, unlike everyone else.
All right. And with that, as we leave on the crew waking up in the morning and getting ready for a drop in a few hours, I think we're gonna end it. The first session of Lancer, It's Just Business, right here.
Woo!
Woo! So thank you everybody for watching and welcome, and thank you for Roach for GMing this campaign. All we have left to do today is to say goodbye to our players and thank them for playing. So we have also, as I've already mentioned, we've been DM'd and this campaign is written by the wonderful Commissar Roach. We also have SurelyOnlyMikey, Red Moogle, RivalzoneGaming, DM Lake. My name is Midgeman, but I wasn't here. We also will be being joined by Utari, Onzo. The full Tuesday crew will be here eventually. Good luck, Mikey, who's going to be running the stream, though, next week. I've been sat here watching it. I've been like, I can't wait to bring my character in because, oh boy, this seems interesting. But anyway, guys, we've been the Component Cast. We'll be back next week with more Lancer. That will be our only show next week. As a reminder, we have no Monday game or no Wednesday game because both are on a quick break. But if you've enjoyed this, remember to share it around. This has been Avari Military Systems. Oh, I mean, the Component Cast bringing you Lancer. It's Just Business. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.